It's clobbering time! It's clobbering time! Clobberonimo!
Greetings, Clobberonimos, Clobberoids, Clobberooskies, Clobberettes, and Clobberers, and also...
Clobberonimo!
Love it. Welcome, my good friends, to Saturday Night Star Trek number 115, of course. Clobbering Times, number 560 on YouTube, and number 1,260 overall over this week, marking my 14th anniversary as a podcaster of pods, or whatever.
Ay. Congratulations, Captain.
14 years, pretty much this week, I guess. Yeah, the 19th, I think, was the actual date. But anyway, wow, it's good to see you all here, my friends, and I hope many more friends will be joining us tonight. I, of course, am joined, as always, by the most wonderful first officer in the fleet. I love you, number one. Say a few words, some opening words, if you will.
I love you too. Thank you so much for having me, Captain. As you well know, you hear me say it all the time, but I'm never going to stop saying it because, life is short and brutal. So I'm just going to come right out and say it again. You're one of my best friends in this whole wide, lonely, strange, weirdo world. And I am honored to be here with you. And I cherish every moment I get to spend with one of the best friends I've ever had in my entire life. And I'm so excited that the 735ers are here, that the Clobberanimals, the Clobberettes, the Clobberooskies, they're all here tonight to celebrate Star Trek with us. It is going to be such a great time. So hail to the chat. I'm looking forward to all of the reviews. Hail to our marvelous wrenches. You guys are so good to us, too good to us, and we adore you. And folks, I have a new science fiction book coming out. And as you well know, I don't like to talk too much about myself, but, every single time I'm on air, I have to give thanks to these amazing people who are my patrons that are helping me to get over the finish line on the other side of this teeny tiny genre known as science fiction. They're on Patreon. They're backing my new book. And I have to shout them out because they're too good to me and I can't do it without them. And that is Larry, Tony Stark, Sean Carter, Cardinal Sin, also known as Gil Bavel, Shooter, Pew Pew Pew, Chris Persia, Scuba Pete, Leslie Pete, Eric K, and the darling Pepperoni Kirby, who I love, Enigmatic Drop Bear, Michael and Cassandra Beacom, Mark D with a C, Jilly Jill, Maximum Redstone, and of course, JT Kirk. Thank you so much for helping make my next book possible. And with that, I think we're ready. Let's get it on.
Yeah. Well, thank you all to all of you. And thank you all for being here tonight. We'll get to our shout outs after a couple of brief show notes. Let's see here. What's coming up? Tomorrow night again on, of course, the great Mark D's show. I think he's got the geekery still lined up. So, Mark, the great chief engineer Mark D with a C, who I hope we will see later. We'll have the geekery at 10 p.m. Eastern time, hanging out doing that. And let's see here. Where were I? Oh, and I'm starring some stuff there. Okay. What else? And then let's see. I've got a new thing I'm doing now on Monday nights.
Ooh.
Well, I mentioned, of course, our great buddy's J-Man's channel. I will be every Monday night now hanging out. We're going to be reviewing all of the Legion of Superheroes appearances from chronicled from 1958 to 1989. The only Legion of Superheroes that are legit that matter. And then, of course, next Wednesday night, our wonderful pal, our great wrench friend, D. Bud Martin, joins me for a Klobby's Classic Comics review special, where we'll interview Iron Man number 6 by on George Tuska's birthday, no less. And that's D. Bud's favorite Iron Man artist. So I'm looking forward to that. So this is quick show notes there. Let's see here. I'm just making sure I got everybody before we start my shout outs. Let's knock out some thank yous to Darius Munchausen for the super sticker. Darius, thank you so much for that super sticker.
Good
I
to see
appreciate
you.
that. Very kind of you. And thank you so much. And of course, the great Eric K for his super chat. 100,000 million, right? No, 1,000. Sorry. I can't count today. Not very good. More, and you're allowed to retire, Clobby. Well, that's all.
Aww.
I can handle it. All right, let's make sure I got everybody before I start me shout outs. Okay, folks, we like this as those who are new to Saturday Night Star Trek, and if you are new, thank you for being here. If you are lurking, we thank you for being here. If you're watching this later on a download or a replay, we thank you so much. We give our shout outs to our weekly behind the scenes wrenches who help us out with so much. And then we shout out everyone in the chat on Saturday Night Star Trek. So we'll start out with them. And of course, there's the bronze wrencher himself, the great Eric here.
Well, love you. And Kirby, give Kirby kisses for me, please.
Good to see you, buddy. Anybody, whether they're here or not, these guys get the shout outs because they do so much for us behind the scenes. The great Chris Persia. I don't know if Chris is here or not, but
thank you for the show poster and
He is
for
here.
promoting us on your socials. Chris, you know I love you. Thank you so much for all the support.
Vindicator Wrench of the North, Chris Persia. Thank you so much, buddy. The great D. Bud Martin, aforementioned.
Resident
indeed.
Mathematician.
Chief of Security. Lord Thoth, God of Wrenching. And, of course, shout out to the lovely Lady Thoth. Avon lives and long live the Legion, sir.
Yes, and Sir Lancelot, that's a mouthful. Our little pepperoni. Don't forget to throw some cheese in for the pups, everyone.
This hang on a second, make sure. Every now and then I like to check, see if anybody else has popped in. I don't want to miss anybody, but I'm probably gonna miss somebody a couple of times here. All right. Avon lives long with the Legion. I'm partner in crime on Earth B and fellow Legionnaire, the Wrench Without Fear, the great J-Man. Great friend.
J-Man.
Master of the Clawboning, Artist Supreme, and painter of the cover of the great book, Science Fiction Tales by R.M. Briggs.
Yeah.
Had a great time hanging out with you last night on Nick's show, Hungry Boy. It was a lot of fun.
Amazing. The guy is a genius artist and a sweetheart of a man to donate that glorious painting to my book. And I will forever be in his debt. What a wonderful, magnanimous thing that he could do for me. And yeah, really, really cool.
Let's see here. Kal-El, Super and Supreme, buddy.
Real soup.
Of course, Batty's Daddy, Thor of Vegas, Real French Mjolnir,
Daddy.
and the Fanty Outsidey.
Fanty.
Yes, indeedishness. And now, some shout outs to friends who are here with us. Hey, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, Maddie's Daddy.
Ooh, Steve made carbonara for dinner, and Maddie's eating that right now.
Indeed, good to see you, buddy. Let's see here. Okay. Let's see here. Who's with us? Shooter's here.
Pew, 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 pew.
Sandra Feliciano.
And Raymond Feliciano. So you know what that
Raymond.
means. King Dolphin TV.
In color. Brian Hepburn. Hello there, Brian.
Evening,
Good to see you,
Brian.
buddy. Welcome. Dave G. Sound.
Dave G. Sound. Not just another body of water.
Classic Comics. What's up, CC?
CC.
I already got him. Simply Steve.
Simply Steve. Good evening. Nice to see you.
JT Kirk.
JT Kirk.
Lovely Lisa. Hey, Lisa.
Lisa,
Good to see you, my
what
dear.
were you cooking the other night? That chicken looked so good.
Of course, Pleasant Valley Picker. Hey there.
PvP.
Michael Beacom. All right, buddy. And shout out to the wonderful Cassandra.
Good evening, Beacom. So good to see you both. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Let's see. SP4H. Hey there.
Hey, nice to see you.
Indeed. Let's see here. Hang on. Admiral Teague, thank you so much, and thank you for the super sticker. You're too kind, my friend. I really appreciate that. I'm honored. Thank you so much. Thank you, Admiral Teague. Great to see you. Let's see here. John and Rupus. Raggy. Enigmatic Drop Bear, my friend. All right. Good to see you.
Right. Watch that name, folks. If you're new here, watch that name. That name produces some incredibly well-wrought reviews. He is so engaging. He gets the whole chat fired up. Great conversationalist. Heck of a good guy.
Darius Munchausen, again, thank you for being here.
Darius!
And Mr. Tickle Trunk's here. All right, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Hey.
Nice to see you, sweetheart. And I do have to say thank you so much for the shout outs on social media. We really appreciate it.
Yes, indeed. If there's anyone I missed, I don't know because I missed them. I hope I didn't. But we'll get to anybody who does pop in after that. That's all I have right now.
Mm-hmm.
So may as well start getting down to beeswax. For those who do not know, what we do here on Saturday Night Star Trek and have been doing since January of 2021 is we've taken on the daunting task. The mission we have taken is to review. Hey, Captain James C. Skywalker. Good to see you, buddy.
Boss, did you see what he said?
No.
These are the Steves I know. 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 If you're wondering what the heck I just did there, that's a Canadian joke that folks like, and it's supposed to sound like that. Sorry, everyone.
They love it. They love it. They love it. A lot of Steves. There's a lot of Steves. So let's see here. What we do here, folks, we've decided to review Minimus is here too.
Minimus! Where the heck have you been? Shin kicks. Shin kicks.
That hurt.
I love Minimus. Minimus
Star
is a
Trek.
librarian. He tries to pretend that he's like just a regular Joe, and he's not. Minimus's house is a library. It is a massive collection.
He's a collection of something. He's a collection. He's a collective of collections. He does have a lot of stuff, for sure. All right. Anyway, we review Star Trek here, folks. We started with the original series in January of 2021. We then moved on to the animated series, the original crew films, Star Trek: The Next Generation, and the TNG films. And now we're smack dab in the middle of Star Trek: Deep Space Nine, Season 6.
Yep.
We unless it's the end or beginning of the end of a season, we do 4 episodes a week. Then we have 4 more episodes for you tonight. And then our text, even though Raquel reads a summary from online, we do consult the text that we recommend, and that is the Star Trek Deep Space Nine companion. And I will now turn the floor over to the con over to my wonderful first officer and let her explain a little bit about that. And then we will get started on our episodes for review of the evening. Number 1, take the con.
Thank you, Captain. Yeah, if you're joining us as though this is an old-time radio hour or live talk radio, there's an image on the screen. It is the scanned image of a book called Star Trek Deep Space Nine Companion. It's written by Terry J. Erdman, and he gets some help from his wife, Paula M. Block, who is, in my opinion, the best Star Trek author, prolific Star Trek author who uses original source material. So she's quite fantastic. Now, this book is your go-to source if you want to know about Star Trek Deep Space Nine. This is where you go to get your information. Please do not go to these user-generated websites like IMDb and Memory Alpha and Wikipedia. These places, they are cesspools of factoids. Just, wishful thinking, rumors, anyone can type anything in there. So avoid all that crap. If you want to know about actual Star Trek and you want to know the skinny, you want to spill the tea and you want it to be truthful, then you have to make sure you go to this book. Now, like the boss says, we don't read out of this book, but there's a reason for that. When Paula does her Star Trek books, she does the most wonderful summaries ever. Not only are they succinct, but they are jam-packed with the coolest information. Once again, original source material. She goes to the producer, she goes to the director, she goes to the actors and actresses. She gets the information and she gets it out really, really with so much brevity. Her husband, on the other hand, okay, folks, it's bad. It's 15, 16 pages. And this is a podcast. This is like a radio show. So it's really important that those summaries stay succinct. We just want to give you a summary so it jogs your memory if you didn't watch the episode, and a launching off point if you did watch the episode. And then that helps us, right? Because the boss and I then discuss the episode. We talk about whether or not we liked it, and then we throw it over to the chat, and the chat throws out its ratings. And so we have to use Wikipedia. We're going to use just the summary. It sucks. I know it sucks. It's not good, but we will correct it. It's just a jumping off point. And so, that's the format. Totally organic. We don't discuss the episodes beforehand with anyone in the chat. We don't discuss them amongst ourselves, and we do not pre-read any of the material we're going to cover tonight. And you want to know why we do that? Because the boss at the beginning of this journey wanted us to feel like we walked into a room at a con with a bunch of Trekkies, and we just wanted to sit around and shoot the bull about Star Trek. So this is 100% organic, off the cuff, extemporaneous, non-rehearsed, fun till Daddy takes the T-bird away. And so I think that just about covers it. So now I'm going to throw it back over to the boss. Boss, should we get started?
Before that, we will say hello to our wonderful, beautiful friend, Katie. Katie. And so great to see you, Katie. We also have Scuba Pete. He's the king of the rumba beat. When he plays the maracas, he goes chick chicky boom. Scuba Pete and the wonderful Leslie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness! So great to see
The
you all here tonight with us, folks.
sweetest,
Oh, thank
sweetest
you, Michael
people.
Beacom.
Don't forget to follow Scuba Pete. Don't forget to
Mike,
follow him. Chasing 80s Toys, please.
Michael Beacom, yes, absolutely. But Michael Beacom says, thank you for the super tap. I appreciate you, by the way. Um, Terry J. Erdman, have you never heard brevity is a soul of wit? No. Why are we not surprised? Well, he's not. The block text is for these little. It's supposed to be in bits because of the type of book it is. It's for everyday type thing. Whereas they're asking him to fill up a bunch of words to sell a big old book. So,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, Princess Fiona. Excuse me, Princess Fiona is here. Oh my dear, great.
And so is Sean Carter from Mars.
That's right. Good to
Oh,
see
you're
you.
driving. Sean's driving, so he can't respond to everyone. So he's waving to everyone in the chat, and everybody just wave back, but don't expect him to text back because drive safely.
All right.
Don't text and drive.
Sean, great to see you. Thank you for being here. See, hang on a second.
Yeah, Simply Steve, it's pretty bad. In the beginning, like when I first vetted the book and I was looking through it, I noticed that it was a little long. But then later on, when the book, when we finished, like we read the first couple of episodes out of the book, but then it was getting longer and longer and longer. And at one point, I think it was either Michael Beacom or Mark D with a C, who said to me, Raquel, one of these entries is like 15 or 16 pages long. And that book is not like a pocket book. It's like an 8.5 by 11. So imagine 15 pages. That's a university term paper for every episode. And that's just the summary. So yeah, not conducive to a podcast. So good for info though. Go get your info from there.
Yeah. Well, everybody, are we ready? Number one, are we ready for our first episode of the evening?
We are, boss.
All right, everyone. Here we go. Our first episode for tonight is Far Beyond the Stars.
Yeah, and Far Beyond the Stars is season 6, episode 13. Now, this is an international show, so if those numbers are not lining up for you, that is because Deep Space Nine is infamous for having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and even 7-part episodes. And they're all divided up differently, especially on these international streaming services. So fear not. Just remember that it is production code 538. And we all watched this for the very first time on February 9th, 1998. Now, earlier I was saying to you all that I'll be reading from Wikipedia because it offers the kind of brevity required for a radio show, podcast show. And I'm sorry, folks, but I'm now reading that it's saying here that the plot summary for this entry is excessively detailed and too long, and that Wikipedia would like it cleaned up. So I'm going to read it, but this is going to be a little bit longer than what you're used to. And I promise I'll try to get through it quickly. I mean, this is written by the public and lots of different members of the public, so the writing is not great. It might be a little rough, so saddle up. Lock and load. Distraught by the death of a friend in the Dominion War, Captain Benjamin Sisko contemplates leaving Starfleet. He begins experiencing hallucinations of the 20th century New York City and is suddenly taken over by his vision, becoming Benny Russell, an African-American science fiction writer in 1953 who is not conscious of his life in the 24th century. Russell encounters people who bear the likeness of people from Sisko's life on Deep Space Nine, such as newsstand vendor who resembles his son's friend Nog. His son's friend Nog? Shin kicks. His fellow writers for the magazine Incredible Tales include Albert Macklin, Miles O'Brien, the short-tempered left-wing Herbert Rossoff, Quark, and married couple Kay Eaton, Kira Nerys, and Julian Easton, Julian Bashir. The magazine's illustrator, Roy Rittenhouse Martok, shows them sketches to be used in an upcoming issue. Russell is drawn to one of a space station resembling Deep Space Nine and offers to write a story about it. Magazine editor Douglas Pabst Odo tells Kay, who writes under the gender-neutral name, and Russell they are to be excluded from upcoming staff photos, as the magazine readers might object to a woman and person of color as a science fiction writer. That night, Russell is harassed by two white police officers, Ryan Ducat and Mulcahy Wayun. He encounters a street preacher, Joseph Cisco, who seems to be speaking directly to him, imploring him to write those words in the name of the prophets. Russell goes home and begins to write. Sometime later, he finishes his story, Deep Space Nine, about the black captain of the space station. His girlfriend, Cassidy Yates, doubts his ability to earn a living as a writer, but is faithful to him despite flirtation from baseball player Willie Hawkins, Worf. A young hustler, Jake Sisko, laughs at Russell's idea of colored people on the moon. That's a direct quote.
Right.
At the magazine, the entire staff loves the story, including Pabst's secretary Darlene Kursky, Jadzia Dax. However, Pabst refuses to print it on the grounds that readers won't like a story with a black protagonist. But Russell keeps writing sequels to the story, and Macklin proposes a compromise. Frame the story as just a dream, which Pabst reluctantly agrees to, while Russell and Casey are out celebrating. Jimmy is shot and killed by officers Ryan and Mulcahy. When Russell protests, they beat him savagely. On his first day back at the office weeks later, Russell is eager to see his story in print. Pabst arrives empty-handed. The owner has pulped this month's issue rather than publish a story featuring a black hero, and Russell is fired. Russell breaks down, screaming that they cannot destroy his ideas and that the future he envisions is real. As he's taken away by an ambulance, the preacher appears next to him and tells him that he is both the dreamer and the dream. Cisco wakes up back on the station. He is deeply moved by his vision and wonders if somewhere far beyond the stars, Benny Russell is really out there dreaming of them. And wow, that was really long and not well written. I'm going to turn it over to the boss now. Boss, Captain, my captain, mon capitaine, please tell me, what did you think of Far Beyond the Stars, Season 6, Episode 13 of Star Trek Deep Space Nine?
Well, this, hang on 1 second. Sorry, major throat clearing time at the worst possible time, bad timing. It's this episode of, I don't have to tell you, it's brutal. Hello there, Parker Luck. What's that, Matt Bird? That's a handful there.
It is.
Call you Parker Luck. But hello and welcome and greetings. You know what? Star Trek should make you uncomfortable sometimes, and it does that. I think this is a celebration of how one of the things that science fiction is truly for, and that is dreaming about things, about better times and better times. With, obviously it's used for dystopian. Unfortunately, dystopian. Not unfortunately, there's some good science fiction that is dystopian, but this is a classic example of how I think Gene Roddenberry liked to use science fiction, dreaming about better times and better futures. It's just uncomfortable to watch this episode, but the subject matter is supposed to make you uncomfortable. So, it's about as heavy-handed as Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, which was a very heavy-handed, heavy-handed story. But it's supposed to make you feel that way. And I don't enjoy it one bit, but you're not supposed to enjoy it. You're supposed to be challenged by it. And I think it shows, I think it is reflective of how many wonderful, broad minds have worked in science fiction, even when there was a time when it was just as restricted by prejudice and bigotry as any other field out there. And they all were, because this is true. The science fiction business, in terms of writing business, was like this back then. This is an actual, this is what it really was like. This is what it was like, not just in that. It was also like in comic books and other medium, as we all know, even television and movies and things like that. And Star Trek has a tendency at its best to show bad things and then show us that in the future it can get better. And I think this does that beautifully, but also horrifyingly. And it's not one I can watch over and over again. It makes me uncomfortable. But I think, and again, I think it's well done. Some of the performances are all terrific. Some of the callbacks to the early days of science fiction. I mean, all these references to old science fiction writers is pretty amazing. Again, we don't know really why Sisko thought of this. I mean, we've never heard the character talk about science fiction books before, or science fiction, or to where that would be in his psyche or anything like that. But it is very well done. And again, I cannot help but think that if this were done today, the messaging would be completely different. In this one, it's saying, look, we have gotten far in what year was it? 1990, episode 1997? What is it?
It's 1998.
Okay, in 1998, look where we have come in 30, 40 something years, and look where we're going if we keep dreaming about the far-flung future like that is going on because in Deep Space Nine, you got to give them some credit. In most of the time, it is no one ever cares what color Sisko is. It's about humans and aliens. Nobody cares what color anyone. It never comes up until this episode, and there's an episode later in season 7 where the actual Sisko's actual race, quote unquote race, or his skin color comes up. But this show, very rightly, like other Treks in the real Trek realm, likely they don't. It's never an issue. It's just a human. It's a human being. But this is an episode that does deal with it very well, heavy-handedly. Yeah, you could definitely say that. I mean, I could understand that. But I also think poignantly, brutally, and beautifully at the same time. It's challenging. It's gut-wrenching. But to me, there's a very positive underlying tone that says this is what science fiction can dream about the future in a wonderful way, and it can talk about wonderful things, and we can dream about better times. Now, you don't have a very positive ending but it would have been disingenuous for Benny Russell's ending to have been positive, for him to have had a happy ending at that point. It just wasn't in the cards. Yet the dream is what this episode is about. For me, the dream that, because Star Trek is about dreaming. It's about dreaming about a better time, and I think this episode accomplishes that for me.
Cool.
Notes?
I respect that. I totally respect that. I didn't enjoy this episode.
Well, I didn't enjoy it either, but
I never have. In fact, I thought that the messaging in 1998 when I first watched it, and on subsequent rewatches, I've enjoyed it. But it's just we live in a different time now, and and it's I don't know. I don't know. I enjoyed it back then. In simpler times, and now I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? But
I think it will be very different if they tried it today. But I understand what you're saying, and I never enjoyed it. It makes me uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. I just kind of understand it, what they're saying. Jay Picasso, hey there. But anyway,
hey Picasso.
Go along with your notes, though. I'd love to hear what you want to say about it.
Yeah. So even in 1998, when I first watched it, some of these issues come forward. And so here are my notes. And if you're new around here, I've been watching Star Trek for over 45 years. And I was thinking to myself, what could I add to a program like this? And I was thinking that maybe some notes, some talking points would be a good idea. So every time I watch an episode, I take out a pencil and a piece of paper and I write notes. And these are those notes.
Go for it.
Everyone is out of character yet again. They're always doing this on this show. It's almost as if they don't want to play the characters that they are. It's done every other week. This time, they aren't even the same species. And back in 1998, I really, truly felt, and I still feel, that it sucks all of the magic out of science fiction. Back then, there were very few people on the internet, and a few people could, go and pick up a magazine and see what Michael Dorn looked like, or, look at what Armin Shimmerman looked like. And so I sort of feel like it ruins the magic. And this is a common thing for creative people. There are a lot of cartoons and television shows where they don't want to reveal what the voice actors look like. In the case of Bart Simpson, the lady who does so many of the voices for The Simpsons, because you don't want to take the magic away. And so I feel like this takes the magic of the science fiction away. I also wrote, this is the human rights episode. It's about the lack of civil rights for women and people of color in the USA in the 1950s. All of the dialogue deals with the racism in New York in the 1950s. And obviously, everyone knows that I'm an adult and I can discuss issues rationally. I make no implication in that pronunciation other than the fact that the algorithm would reject a show where we talk about things like that. Unfortunately, that's the way the algorithm works. So
Yeah.
it's not due to disrespect.
No.
How does Ben know about this world, to have this dream? He moves in and around this world perfectly. He knows where the cafe is. He knows where his apartment is. He doesn't have to look around the way that McCoy had to look around, the way that Captain Kirk had to look around, the way that Spock had to look around. It's too weird to me that he arrives in this world and knows where everything is and fits in seamlessly. He even knows what to order at the cafe. This is, so we're supposed to believe this is a dream, but then it's also tied into the prophets, and so it behooves one to say, where would Cisco get all of this information about early 1950s culture, considering the fact that he's 400 years into the future, and imagine all the history that's happened in that 400 years.
Much
And
less science fiction writers. Yeah.
yeah, and also the fact that, like, even in detail, like the refrigerator and things like that, if this is his dream, right? And then I also have difficulty assigning it to the prophets, because the prophets aren't supposed to understand linear time, let alone minute details like what a toaster looks like in 1950. So I just think that it's kind of weird. There
Very.
are some weighty, violent scenes of police brutality, and there's some commentary offered. Benny assaults the police officers, and the police officers come back and assault him like overboard, absolutely insane. He also shoves Kira and then Bashir. He seems to be sort of unglued, and then he has a nervous breakdown. So I thought that was disturbing. There's never any explanation in this episode as to why, who, and what. And then my final notes are, the ending explanation makes absolutely zero sense. Earth 1950 is long gone history. Racism and poverty have been eradicated on Earth, so there is absolutely no way that Benny Russell is in New York dreaming up Deep Space Nine. So I think that this is just really weak writing, and it's going against what Star Trek is trying to do, and that is, it strips away all of the creatures and all of the alternate species that are supposed to, draw people into empathy and open their minds. And then it also offers this really sloppy ending where they say that Benny Russell is out there dreaming of Deep Space Nine. I think it's melodramatic and really dumb, because it's absolutely no way that would be possible. This is not science fiction, and I also don't feel like it is Star Trek. I feel like there's any type of science fiction happening here, and I don't feel like there's any type of Star Trek happening here. It's my understanding, through comprehensive, verifiable research, that this is actually supposed to be a time traveling episode, and it shows, because we see this thing that Cisco's going through. It's blamed on a dream, then it's blamed on the prophets, and then it goes back to blaming it on a dream again. And this is all because they were a little bit worried about doing another time traveling episode and people getting upset with them, because then once again you have all of the cast not playing their characters, which happens really often on this show, and then you would have them time traveling again. And so obviously they would have to answer for some to some questions there about copying TOS and about too much time travel. So not my favorite episode. And like I said, even back in 1998, I felt that taking everyone's makeup off of them and not allowing them to be that species was sucking the magic out of the show. So not my favorite.
Anonymous, hey there. You know, I think Jill raises a good point. I mean, they didn't say it was a vision from the prophets, did they?
Yeah, actually, it's heavily implied that
I mean,
it is.
I could take that more than him just dreaming it up on his own.
Yeah, you know, when he has the encounter with the obelisk. Yeah, so that Julian believes that his neural synapses are being affected. There is some
From the thing that happened a year before that, right?
Residual activity from his encounter with the obelisk, which would be the time when he was actually portrayed as the actual literal Messiah, and he was going around, you know, anointing people and blessing them and telling them their futures and all that kind of stuff, laying hands on the sick and stuff like that in that episode. And then remember, he almost dies. So Julian Bashir actually says that this neural activity that's occurring is likely due to his residual encounter, neurological encounter with the obelisk. So that's where the tie-in is with the prophets.
Ray Alavi, I've not seen you here before. Welcome.
Hello.
Good to see you. And Anonymous, good to see you. Yeah, but I don't think they directly say that for sure that it is. But I could buy into it more if they just flat out say that's what they were doing to him. It makes more sense than him just dreaming it up on his own out of nowhere. That's what got me about the episode. It always bugged me about it was, I mean, we've never heard, like, for example, you know how Cisco's big into baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And if he had some kind of episode where he woke up in some kind of crazy dream and he was a baseball player,
that would
make a little more of a sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've never talked about science fiction writers or anything like that. So my biggest problem here is because I like the performances and all that stuff, and you know, I like a lot of aspects of it, but I don't understand why Benny Russell, why that character out of nowhere, why. You know, unless someone's inducing it. He didn't go back in time. Like you said, it was originally supposed to be a time travel. And they didn't do it because Captain Finity stopped them. Thanks, Captain Finity. So, I don't know. It's just kind of, that's what bugs me the most. I don't mind any kind of crazy fantasy episodes. I don't mind any show, Star Trek or whatever, doing a crazy off the rails kind of a story where someone goes into some weird kind of fantasy dream and dreams up crazy stuff. I don't mind that kind of stuff once in a while if it's done well. This is not done particularly well. So it's very heavy-handed. But
yeah,
if you just come out and say this was some kind of vision of the prophets trying to show him something, it would make more sense to me than just willy-nilly out of nowhere.
Well, they do both. And so I just want to make sure, because, you know, Jill had brought up, she said, you know, did they really make reference to the prophets? They actually make reference to the prophets being behind all of this 8 times. So it occurs 8 times in the script. So if you go to Far Beyond the Stars DS9 script online at chicote.net and you press Command F and you type in prophets, you will see that 8 times in the script dialogue leads this to it being about the prophets. And then we have an equal amount of dialogue with reference to this not being about the prophets, to it being about a dream. And so this is what I was getting to in my notes. And that is, like, if you start off saying something is a time travel thing, then you have to stick with it. Because if you completely rework a script, you have to make sure that you're reworking that script in a way that makes sense. You can't just move things around and then not expect people to have all the loose ends tied up. So that's also, why I said what I said in my notes.
Okay, I got you. Cappuccino, Captain Shea. Hey there. And hello, Tim Hayes. Good to see you, sir. Always good to see you, my buddy. All right. Okay. Well, again, like I said, I don't remember them anywhere saying it, but that just could just be me. So, all right. So anyway,
well, I can read some entries if you like.
No. Let's just get at it. Nah. You think I don't trust you by now?
Well, there are.
I'd rather not.
It does say it 8 times, and there is a specific dialogue directly linking it to the prophets, blaming it on the prophets in the infirmary scene. So if after the New York street scene, there's the infirmary scene.
I know in the infirmary he's talking about, he said that Bashir speculates that it could be something to do with the incident he had a year ago with the what was it, the orb or whatever it was, or
the obelisk
thingy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, anyways, neither here nor there. Hey there, Phantom Boomer.
Phantom Boomer.
Good to see you.
Yeah, sorry about the dogs barking in the background, everyone.
She's got doggies, folks. We all
I do.
Tell her we don't mind the doggies, everybody. Tell her we love the doggies.
Yeah, so basically the reason why I brought it up, Captain, is because that's one of the reasons why I don't like this script. Gotcha. I think that, if you're going to do a time travel thing, just do a time travel thing. If you're going to make everyone lose their character and they get to play a new character again, which they're doing every other week, just, okay, go ahead and do that. But it's just, it's the constant recycling. And I think they reworked this script too much and turned it into gobbledygook.
Okay, well, what is your rating of Far Beyond the Stars?
I think the messaging is beautiful. And so I'm not going to be too hard on it. But as far as it being science fiction and as far as it being Star Trek and all of the things that are wrong with it, it fails. But the story is beautiful. But I just the way that it's told, too many mistakes. It's not science fiction and it's not Star Trek. It strips the magic away from Star Trek. So I gave it a C-.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'm not too far. I've got a B- because I did think that it had some Star Trek elements to it, where it was talking about, the future, talking about hope, talking about that this guy could dream, even though he's this crazy fantasy version. And I don't know why he's in Cisco's head, but he dreams of a better time and some of that stuff. And I kind of like some of the old science fiction callbacks to some of the old science fiction writers.
But why wasn't it Jake,
heavy-handed? I don't know. You have to ask the people who wrote it. But
I know, but you know what I'm saying? Like when it leaves lingering questions in the audience, it's just like Jake is the one who's the writer. So shouldn't he be the one having the authorial experience?
That's a good point.
And
no
why?
Argument with me.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And I love what you said about the baseball. Like let's have Ben have an experience that is actually tethered to the character in some way. I just sort of feel like this was a way to come in and tell this very powerful story, but it just seems so out of place in the way that they did it. So nice intentions, beautiful story, but how it shapes up and what goes wrong with it is just, ooh.
Gotcha. Well, everyone, anyone, if you have, please now our wonderful chat. If you have any, and please give your ratings now of the episode Far Beyond the Stars and any words you may have. And number one, we'll star those for us. And we'll get to moving. Trust got to check something here because I got a message to check here from the engineer. The original pitch said Jake Sisko traveled back to time. Yeah. Back to time to the 50s. It was an alien trick to get some info from Jake. He didn't really travel in time. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mark D with a C. To the chief engineer there. All right. So let's see what we got. Yes. Any ratings you may have and any words you may have. We always love it. We get reviews from our chat. So here we go. Well, Shooter said something. He was just talking about it. Originally, it was Jake going back. Okay, back in time. Thank you, Shooter. That was something we'll start. All right, Katie, our lovely friend Katie. It is so good to see you, Katie. She says, such a phenomenal episode reflecting on modern times, but not converting the futuristic characters into modern characters. This episode should be shown in schools, social and racial justice. A plus from Katie. Thank you, Katie. Jill, our wonderful communications officer, Jill says, A minus. This was a passionate way for the prophets to give Cisco a vision to not give up, and follows along with their penchant for riddles and metaphor. I don't believe Benny is supposed to be real. I guess not. JT Kirk says, B minus. I've never understood how making it a dream will magically make a closed-minded audience suddenly open to reading the stories. Sadly, we've gone backwards in the West in so many ways. Boy, howdy on that one. I don't think this episode would be made today, as Hollywood has gotten worse, not better. This ep suggests DS9 is just a man's dream. B5 doesn't have such an ep, therefore DS9 is better. B5 is better than DS9. What are you, Zathras? You're stealing Zathras' thunder, buddy. And I love it. Way to go, JT. Princess Fiona, so good to see you again. Says, I remember seeing this and thinking the writer must had just read a Buddhism for Dummies book and really went to town on the butterfly story. We've seen all this before. Some Back to the Future to, let me find your second one there, Princess.
Monkey Jeebus!
Is Monkey Jeebus here? I will get to, so I'm going to try to find, does Princess Fiona have a second one? Oh, there we go. Future to, let's see, some Back to the Future to, it's like when a child comes up with an idea and they think it's so profound, but you as a grown-up realize that it's a normal part of growing up. And she gives it a C. Thank you so much, Princess Fiona. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Fiona.
So good to have you here. Let's see here. Kal-El says, A+. This episode was incredibly well done, despite its on-the-nose message that the episode was designed to convey. Cisco, being tired of responsibility of making the tough calls, is... hang on, Steven, I got to get your next one, buddy.
He sure wants to quit a lot, hey, Cisco?
He's a quitter.
Yeah, he is.
Reminded how important it is that the right person is there to make those calls. And anyone who has ever been in a leadership position can easily relate. Avery Brooks' performance as the Benny, sorry, I got to find your next one. Betty Russell character was brilliant, especially the scene where the character has a nervous breakdown after being pushed too far. Cisco really shows some growth in this episode with its ending. Hang on. As he really appreciates what he has in his own life, despite the difficulties he faces. His renewed vow, keep fighting the good fight, is proof of this. This was one of my favorite episodes of, hang on, the season, if not the series. For all of the aforementioned reasons, it's definitely a recommended episode worthy of rewatch. All right, Kal-El, buddy, thank you, sir. Always appreciate your reviews. Thank you so much, bud. See here. Let me see who is next. Hang on, everybody. All right, get back to the top hill. Up and hill. Raymond says, "Hey, it was a heavy episode, but the characters bring it out in a wonderful way to tell about prejudice." Thank you so much, King Dolphin TV. Dave G Sound says, "This was a solid C for Star Trek. Yes, it brought up hard issues as Star Trek does, but it still was just another separated yet edgy story with Star Trek in front of it."
I agree.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much. Simply Steve says, C+. On this episode of In the Heat of the Starfleet, was it good old days amongst DS Oz friends? You were there and you were there. Or prophets induced Siskopian dream. Oh, profits-induced Siskopian dream. Sorry, no sci-fi here.
Yep,
There you
I
go.
know. Simply Steve, I totally
Well,
agree. Unpopular opinion, but I like sci-fi in my sci-fi, and
they
I
were
think this
writing.
show pushes the drama so much, the drama and the comedy, and sometimes you feel like you're watching a full situation comedy.
Well, it did have a science fiction publisher in it. Isn't that enough? Lisa says D. Like seeing all the without their SFX, but all I think it means all without their SFX, but spent all episode trying to figure out the sketch artist's alternative character. Help Clobby and RM. Who was that? A distraction? Anyway, what was this ep about? It was about 40 something minutes long. No, what does she mean? Like, what's that? Oh, figure out the sketch artist's alternative character. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and see. I'm not really sure exactly what you're referring to, Lisa, but if you can just clarify that for me, please.
Oh,
Lisa,
trying to figure out that's General Martok.
Oh, the artist?
Yeah, that's General Martok.
Yeah, that was J.G. Hertzler.
Yeah.
J.G. or G?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, it's Martok. Yeah, but the actor was J.G.
Hertzler.
Hertzler, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Hertzler, yeah. Hertzler.
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 Yeah.
Hungry Boy says B-. Ack. Misrepresentation of art for publication bugs me. 1960s, 60s sci-fi mags and comics didn't work on flimsy paper. Maybe they were meant to be preliminary sketches, and that, by the way, it was the 50s in this case, but yeah, I hear you. But Avery was engaged and completely invested, and the rest of the cast showed guts in their interaction with Benny's plight. Yeah. Hang on. Plus the acting and recreation of a bullpen with the issues raised, pun intended, were a delight, as were the costumes and hairstyles. Jeffrey Combs shows more of his acting chops, clearly reveling in his film noir role and milking it dry, fab, but enough with 20th century settings. I hear you there, HB. I understand and stand under the understanding. And understand the understanding. I mean, understand where you're understanding from. Or what have you. Okie dokie. Michael Bacon says A+. I heard Gene R. from the grave saying, now that's what I'm talking about. How did this happen? Story by Mark Scott Zickrey. They talked to a real sci-fi author who did work in the business, I guess. He is that, Mark Scott. Hang on a second. Okay. He wrote this little thing called The Twilight Zone Companion. I still have mine. I loved that book in the 80s. I wore that sucker out and talked with, I think I still have mine, with those writers at length. He has written scripts for about every show in the late 80s and 90s. Page 535. Armin Shimmerman and others were weirded out to be sans makeup. Armin said it was the first time in 6 years his naked face would be visible. What about when he was on Buffy? He couldn't hide behind Quark's prosthetics. He was Principal Skinner on Buffy. Maybe he means just on that show. Page 535. Renee A. said they thought he'd resent being the bad guy, Pabst, but as an actor, he loved it. This is how you use science fiction to talk about real topics in the human condition. Bravo. One more. There we go. I've always loved how science fiction can allow a dialogue about anything. This show gives a look at the world that was and the world that can be, and how imagining helped make the world change. Well, thank you much, Michael Beacom. Let's see here. Shooter says, B. I like this episode, but it doesn't really fit the Star Trek narrative. We know Cisco and DS9 are real, so What is with the alternative reality we're seeing? Fantasy, not sci-fi. This type of social commentary doesn't fit in the Star Trek narrative. The Federation has moved beyond discrimination and long time ago, and shouldn't be something we focus on.
Yeah, and also the fact that he said that somewhere Benny is out there dreaming of Deep Space Nine. So why would Benny be out there dreaming about Deep Space Nine? New York is supposed to be, a utopia at this point.
I don't know. Still, it is well acted, well written. It is a well acted. I think he means a well acted. Yeah, sorry, acted, well written episode with an interesting premise that would work well in something else. The meta ending really doesn't work for me. Writers trying to be clever, I should say. Thank you, Shooter, for that one. Hang on. Trying to get things straightened out here.
I completely agree with your comment, Princess Fiona.
What?
Oh, nothing. There's just a conversation brewing about Gene Roddenberry in the chat.
Cool. Eric K says, D. Heavy-handed. I did not know Sisko was in this story, and also one of the most famous horror sci-fi writers, Mary Shelley. What? Mary Shelley. Also, one of the most famous, Mary Shelley. Okay. Preachy and Sisko should not be in charge of anything with all these mental breaks.
Yep.
Indeed. Our new friend Rhea Lavi, I hope I'm saying that correctly, gives it a 4 out of 5. Okay. Thank you. Pleasant Valley Picker says, A+, a great episode, spot on look at the ugly stupidity of Rossicism. And we're not saying that to be funny, folks. We say it for algorithm purposes. Yes. Yeah. We're not making light of that at all.
No.
Just so you'll know that's me. That's because you hear people say it sometimes. It's not to be flippant about that horrible thing that is that word. It's algorithm things on YouTube. But anyway, fantastic recreation of early 50s America. Impressive writing and execution. Great fun seeing the characters in an alternate way. Darius Munchausen says, R.M. Briggs, at least it wasn't a clip show. Wow.
Well, maybe if it were a clip show, it would have made more sense, right? Since Sisko's supposed to be from Louisiana. How he knows all this stuff about 1950s New York and cafes and streets and stuff down New York, stuff in New York makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. The prophets wouldn't know about it either.
Well, there you go. Sean Carter says, this gets an A from me. I don't see it as time travel. Well, it wasn't time travel. Yeah. I recall that Sisko is on his way of becoming a prophet in a way, and this could just be part of it. And I love the homage to traditional sci-fi. Thank you, Sean Carter.
Sean, it isn't that it is time travel. It's that it was intended to be an episode about time travel.
Yes.
So the trappings were supposed to be time travel, and instead they spent part of the show saying that it was due to the prophets, and then part of the show saying that it was due to just a dream that he had.
Yeah, it's just an initial attempt happened to be originally time travel.
Yeah.
Eric K.
Neil
says,
Messiah just walked through the door, boss.
Snail. What's up, Snail? Good to see you. Eric K. says, I think I am the only one who did not like this one. No, I had not. Have you been paying attention? We got a lot. We got D's, we got C's, we got No, you're not the only one at all, buddy. Wolfie says, rating A-. Everyone's acting is phenomenal in this episode. Very powerful and difficult to watch at times. Very difficult to watch, yes. That's not an episode I enjoy. I just respect some of it. Enigmatic Drop Bear says B. This is a welcome return to episodic television rather than the clumsy serialized stories that have dominated since season 4. Let's see here. It espouses humanist values and uses contrast to present a vision to an optimistic utopian future. Indeed. The story and it seems stimulate discussion and encourage reflection. However, the lack of allegory distance it from the best of what Star Trek can be. Interesting. Well put up there. Yeah, that's very well said. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, enigmatic drop bear. It's more God in the machine, but then they try and get out of God in the machine by making it a dream. It's so ridiculous. Anyway, I agree with you, enigmatic drop bear.
We have some super chats. Eric, hey, I know who Mary Shelley is. I just don't know why you were mentioning Mary Shelley. Thank you for the super chat. You didn't have to super chat for that, but I'm very well aware who she wrote Frankenstein. I mean, that was okay. I mean, but thank you for the super chat. I'm just saying. I don't know if I gave you the impression I didn't know who she is because I was wondering why you wrote it in the in your review. But it was maybe just something. Maybe there was a word missing or something. I didn't see what you were saying. So don't worry about it, buddy.
He uses voice to text sometimes because he's cooking or he's working. So it could be that.
Yeah, I couldn't tell why the name was in there. Right. Yeah, Eric, I just didn't tell why you were mentioning what context because you may have had a word missing or something. So that's why I didn't see what that had to do with what you're saying. So that's probably my bad, dude. You know, I'm senile. But I definitely, even a dope like me, knows who Mary Shelley is. I promise. Michael Begum, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, for all of you saying this ep is not Star Trek, I have two words, Omega Glory. Enough said. I love Omega Glory. And you didn't have to give that just to say that, but thank you. And I didn't say it was not Star Trek. But many have. You're right.
I sure did.
I got you. Yep. So that means I actually got to give the silver super chat to Raquel. Thank you so much, though, Michael. We appreciate it. Cappuccino says this is an A+. A true to force by Avery Brooks pulling Jebel Duty, and he is listed as director of the episode in the credits. I believe that yes, he is. He is the director, right? Anonymous says a B-. I enjoyed this, and it gave me the feels in places. But it was over the top in areas, and I think of the liberals. The liberals wanted to virtue signal before it was called virtue signaling. Well, it is Hollywood, so you're not wrong there, I don't think, buddy. They did like to do that sort of thing, did they not? Even back then, it goes to show movie and TV stars want their truths. I think it's their truths, their true faces to be seen on camera, no matter what decade they're in. Brooks was great, though. Agreed, Anonymous. Yes, sir. He was great, I thought. Princess Fiona says, I'm not objecting to the message, but it doesn't belong here. And it's not like we have any shortage of the actors acting out of character. If this was the only time, it might have been different. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to say, Princess Fiona, I don't know who you are. I don't know where you came from, but I really appreciate you joining this group. I really like the comments you've been making thus far. That's what you just said there is exactly how I feel. And I think that's why it's sort of dangerous to talk about this episode, because it's like you can agree with the message and think that the message is beautiful, but it just doesn't pass the sniff test. It's a little stinky. Because there are a whole bunch of things going wrong here, right? Is this the prophets? Is this a dream? And all of the other things that are wrong with it, right? He's born and raised in Louisiana. It's 400 years later. How would he know about New York to this extent? He's never wanted to be an author. He loves baseball. His son is the one who is the author, and his son doesn't write science fiction. He writes about people, and so far is not even an author in the proper sense. He's a journalist. So it's just, like the message, it's dangerous to say, like, I love the message, but how does this fit with Star Trek? Because the way that they're trying to make it fit, it's creating a mess in a whole bunch of different ways. Is it a dream? Say it's a dream. Is it the prophets and you're going to put God in the machine? Then say it's the prophets and put God in the machine. And for the person who originally wrote it, who just wanted it to be about time travel, just make it about time travel. But I'm done seeing the entire cast not play themselves. It's every other week. And the rest of the stuff that's wrong with it, it doesn't pass. It just doesn't pass the test. So I love your comments, and I just want to thank you for making them and for being so sincere. And I love it. Thank you.
The chief engineer for the final review of this episode of the night, Mark D with a C, says A-. I love the portrayal of the actors illustrating why we all look forward to the future envisioned by Star Trek, where racism, Rossism, everybody. You had to put that word there, and I stumbled. Damn it. I should have put a caveat before. People shouldn't put that word in there. So that's my fault. And poverty have been eliminated. Where it falls short is that Sisko would have never been the recipient of ill treatment due to the color of his skin if he had actually traveled in time and was confronted with the bigotry that he had only read about it in history books and would have been more shocking to him as a character and the viewers. Despite this, it is still able to point out to viewers why Roddenberry's vision of hopeful future is so special. Of a hopeful future is so special. So, yes, absolutely, Ishness. Thank you there, Mark D with a C. Thank you all for your reviews. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you kindly. Let's see here. So, well, I think that's it for that episode.
Yeah, I think that's it, boss.
All right. Well, are we ready to move on?
We are ready.
Episode. All right. All right, everybody. Our next episode is One Little Ship.
Yes. And One Little Ship is season 6, episode 14, production code 537. And we all watched this for the very first time on February 16th, 1998. And you just got a gift from Eric K.
Thank you, Eric K, for the $2 super chat. He said that said no one would accept a woman writer. That's why she said she was writing under a male pseudonym, if you remember in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that's true, and they didn't. That was kind of a nod to Dorothy Fontana, really. Hello there, DJ Ronnie G.
DJ Ronnie G. Okay, are we ready to go?
Ready.
All right, boss. So let's stay copyright compliant, shall we? I'm going to be reading from Wikipedia about One Little Ship. The USS Defiant is sent on a mission to investigate a subspace anomaly. When Jadzia Dax, Miles O'Brien, and Julian Bashir take the runabout USS Rubicon into the anomaly, the entire runabout is shrunk to only several centimeters high.
You know what?
But the crew expects to return to normal once they exit.
Oh, guess what?
What?
The Defiant. Adrift, but salvageable.
Tough little ship.
Little.
Sorry. Go for it. Sorry.
While the runabout is in the anomaly, the Defiant is attacked by the Jemadar ship, disabled and boarded by the Jemadar soldiers. The Jemadar commander, I'm not going to say that kooky name, proclaims the superiority of Jemadar, who were born in the Alpha Quadrant, and dismisses the advice of his more experienced but Gamma Quadrant-born second in command. I'm not going to say that ridiculous name either. Since the Defiant engines are damaged, Number 1 demands that Captain Benjamin Sisko repair the ship's warp drive. Sisko claims he needs his crew's assistance to do so, and so the Number 1 grants his request over the Number 2's objections. Meanwhile, the Rubicon and its crew escape the anomaly and return to the Defiant, still miniaturized. They enter the ship through the plasma vent and make their way into the engine room, where they discover the Jemadar takeover. The Rubicon crew observe Sisko executing his plan while Major Kira repairs the warp drive, working slowly to stall for time. Sisko, Worf, and Nog are attempting to regain control of the ship. O'Brien observes that Nog is attempting to override the ship's security codes and suggests that they take the Rubicon to the bridge to assist them. When the number one enters, Sisko complains about the number two's interference, driving an additional wedge between the two. As the Jemadar departs, the Rubicon follows him through the door. On the bridge, O'Brien and Bashir beam into a computer node that manually bypasses the command codes. They manage to reroute the circuitry, granting Sisko control of the ship. Sisko is unable to take advantage of it. However, number one, having discovered that the warp drive repairs are complete, orders the Defiant crew away from the computer consoles. Number one orders that the ship return to the Dominion outpost immediately, ignoring his number two's concerns about sabotage. The Rubicon returns to engineering and attacks the Jemadar, and it and the full crew are able to overcome them. After the Defiant is retaken, the Rubicon re-enters the anomaly and is returned to its normal size.
We have visitors, by the way. Cardi, thank you, Cardinal Sin. Cardinal Sin, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate that, buddy. Good to see you. And Stunt Brat's here.
Okay, everybody in the chat, if you don't know this, this is true. Stunt Brat did stunts for female actresses on Star Trek. She's the coolest chick. So go follow her, and she's just the coolest chick ever. I can't believe she hangs out with us. She's wonderful. I love her, and she has cool stories.
Absolutely.
Everybody say hello to Stunt Brat,
good to see
one
you, Stunt
of the
Brat.
marvelous stunt women from Star Trek.
Yes, indeed. And
Okay, now that I'm done reading that crap, boss, please tell me what you think of One Little Shit.
You might not want to know.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't think you want to know.
Okay, go ahead.
I like this episode.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. I like it.
It's okay.
See, this is goofy fun to me. This episode, I guess I love Fantastic Journey, or is it Voyage?
It's Voyage.
Yeah,
no,
Fantastic
is it Journey?
Voyage.
I don't remember. It's been too long.
No, Journey was a TV show. Fantastic Voyage was the movie. I like it is the concept a little out there, maybe. Is it silly fun? Maybe, but I'll take this over funny Ferengi any day. I mean, I thought it was dopey, silly, 60s science fiction fun, but I had fun with this episode. I thought it was imaginative and clever. It wasn't Star Trek, but it was fun. Or at least it was Star Trek had, look, even the original series had some goofy ass episodes, and this falls into, it was Voyage was the movie, right? And this, I don't care. I enjoyed it. I know it's stupid, but I think this was a funny one. At least I could enjoy.
Apologize. I love you. I'm glad you had fun.
People make fun of people who like the Atom or the or Giant or Ant-Man or characters like that can shrink. And I like that they were flying around that little ship. I can't help it. I thought it was fun. I know, but even if I hated it, I would now love it because of your review. Go with your notes. I can't. You're killing me.
Okay, so look, I'm not going to lie. In 1998, I was a mother with a small child, and not even that small of a child, like a kid. And I remember all of the kids watching the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movie at this time. And at this time, like just a couple of months before, the sequel had come out, and it was huge. Like all the kids wanted it rented. Everybody wanted to watch it. So like in 1998, when I saw this, I was like, what in the holy F are you doing? Like, is this a kid's show? So I didn't like it because the first thing I was like, why are they borrowing off of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? And Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was huge in 1998. Like, come on. Like, everyone was at Blockbuster renting that for their kids.
Well, they did it on animated series. They did something like that. And there's the old science fiction film, The Incredible Shrinking Man. So
yes, and I like that stuff, but it's just that the way that they do it here, I don't enjoy it. I don't.
I
And
know.
and it has a lot to do with the dialogue. And that is that Jadzia and Bashir have a full conversation where they say that they've never, uh, done a shrinking experiment before.
You mean the small jokes, all the small jokes that we're making?
Yeah, well, no, that they Jadzia specifically, well, Miles actually brings it up. He says, "We're shrinking ourselves and we're shrinking a ship. Have we ever done this before?" And Bashir is back to being a genius again, because sometimes he's Data and sometimes he's a doorknob. So he's Data again, and he starts explaining that he's run some test data, and that's how he knows that they'll be able to shrink a runabout and they'll be able to shrink them. And so it's never been done before. So that I have a problem with that. Why would that happen? Why would you do that? And why would you use a Rubicon, a chief science officer who's a bridge officer, possibly the finest engineer in all of Starfleet, and this genius doctor who was nearly awarded being the #1 doctor in Starfleet? Why would you shrink those people for the first time, and never not do it with like a monkey or a dog or whatever, but just run
Or
data
nog.
and then say, okay, we'll do it?
No, it's no. Look, I didn't say the episode made sense. By the way, I didn't know Wolfie was here. Hey, Wolfie.
Wolfie, oh.
The episode doesn't make any sense. I never said that.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying the reason why I don't like it.
I got you.
We have a new breed of Jamadar. They make their debut. They still only live until they're toddlers. They still don't have sex. They still don't eat, eliminate, or defecate. And somehow they all look like He-Man. They return to normal size only if they fly out of the anomaly the same way they flew in. What am I, 6 years old? Why doesn't a genetically enhanced Julian suddenly not know things he should know? So once we get into a conundrum, Julian suddenly doesn't know anything about the Defiance specs, its systems, or even how it's set up, which makes no sense because 2 weeks ago he was running calculations to the 1/1 millionth of a percentile, it like off the top of his head. So it's just stupid. And why just 20 minutes of air? This is something that's always bothered me as I rewatch this episode. Why just 20 minutes of air? So they're gasping for air, and it's all very melodramatic. But if 20 minutes of air can be beamed in once, it can be beamed in again, right? So
right.
If 20 minutes is the increment, you beam more in. There's nothing
Right.
preventing that unless you write something in, and the writers don't write something in. So and moreover, I actually put moreover in my notes. And when I'm using conjunctive adverbs, I'm cheesed off.
Well,
Moreover, they are wearing comm badges, so Jadzia could direct them. There is absolutely no reason for Miles and Julian to be quote unquote lost. They're wearing comm badges. She could easily just say, turn to your right and keep walking. So it's just too much dumb for me. It's just too much dumb. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my gosh, they're doing Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And now everyone's going to make fun of me for liking Star Trek. I keep telling them that Star Trek is this marvelous show. And now they're going to see Honey, I Shrunk the Kids on the screen. So.
You're killing me. I love it. Oh my God. I guess you've earned it.
Yeah, there I am, 1998, cooking supper. All the kids are in the family room. What comes on? But Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Star Trek.
Honey, I Shrunk the Ship. Oh my goodness. You can make any episode 10 times better. I hope you know that.
I love you. But it's not Honey, I Shrunk the Ship. It's Honey, I Shrunk the Shit.
Yeah, and I sucked the shit. Gotcha.
Yep. Sorry, boss.
All right. No. What are we sorry about? Are you kidding me?
Yep.
I'm sorry. I remember I apologized first for liking it. Anyway, what is your rating of Honey, I Shrunk the Shit?
Like people weren't making fun of me before for being a chronic Star Trek fan. And then they see Honey, I Shrunk the Star Trek.
I think most people don't think it through like you do. They probably just watch it and think it was silly fun and just say, yeah, it was silly, but whatever. I don't think you had to. Oh, so a few pointy had snob academics maybe, but for the most part, you're fine. Nobody's gonna make fun of you for this one. You're
C
good.
minus.
C minus. Okay. I give it a B plus. I really enjoyed it. Thought it was goofy, fun. I never thought it through that much. I just thought it was a fun adventure and a silly, fantastic. I guess I didn't think about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I thought about Fantastic Voyage for some reason. But I admit it, guilty pleasure. To me, I had more fun with this one. A really ridiculous, crazy premise that was still more of an action adventure type than intentional idiotic comedies with Ferengi doing stupid shit. That annoys me more than this. So I was fine with it. I'll take a goofy comedy that makes no sense. It has really ridiculous pseudo fantasy science and fantasy, or pseudoscience and fantasy, than another episode with Ferengi trying to make me laugh.
Yeah, the Ferengi situation comedy is a little ridiculous.
And we're not done with them either. You got more of them.
Yeah. Stunt Brat says, Raquel, I worked on both superfluous exclamation points plus Spaceballs. Do I need to turn in my nerd card? No, you may not turn in your nerd card. You are keeping that nerd card, and you are still a part of my crew.
Everyone, please now give us any rating and words you may have about Honey, I Shrunk the Shit. One little shit, or whatever you want to call it.
You just made me ugly laugh on air. Oh, I love you.
This episode, it's goofy, but is it more goofy than The Way to Eden? It's close, but no. I mean, the Trek we love the most, the original series, made the Way to Eden, for God's sake, and so hey, I'll give it a pass any day.
Look, it's
stepping out to Eden, yay, brother.
But at the same time, it's okay if it's in socio-historical context, and so you're seeing these goofy hippies, sure. Okay, all I'm seeing is Rick Moranis running around inside of a cereal bowl, and all the little kids in the family room going, "He's gonna eat him."
I never thought of that though. I just thought about Fantastic Voyage. I never until you tonight. I admit. I mean, I like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I always had fun watching. It was a fun movie, but
the sequel came out the same year. Well, not the same year, like 6 months later.
But the kid wasn't shrunk. He got big. Remember, it was like Honey, I Blew Up the Baby.
Honey, I Blew Up the Baby.
That was the second one. Yeah, that was the sequel. Remember?
What the heck was in it?
Remember, the baby got turned into a giant.
Yeah,
in the sequel. So anyway,
there was a whole bunch of them, and then there was you know what I mean. Like that became the blockbuster movie for the kids. You get the adult movies for later, and you do the blockbuster movies for the kids first, right? Until it's bedtime, and then everybody has a bath, and they all get their hair done, and then they say their prayers, and they go to sleep, and then you watch the real shows, right? So yeah. Anyway, hey, remember Blockbuster?
I do.
I miss that. I miss taking the whole family to Blockbuster to go and look and shop through the movies as though you're at the library, and then getting your M&Ms and getting your popcorn and getting your pop and going home.
Well, are we getting less reviews or something?
No, I'm just slacking off on my job because I'm talking.
Sorry. Oh, okay. As long as you don't miss them, you're fine. Hang on. JT Kirk gives this one an F. Wow, dude. This up is a steaming number 2 filled diaper.
Yes.
Left in the July Florida sun. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was a worn out trope in 98. The movie came out that movie came out in 89 though. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Just to eat some
he's talking about the sequel.
I know, but Honey, I Blew Up the Baby wasn't about shrinking. It was the other. It was
yes, I know, but adults it blends.
And grow back to regular size roll credits. Lisa says D. Wash, rinse, repeat. A typical get in trouble, get out of trouble story. Love miniatures. A very cute little ship blasting and zapping the enemy. Very cool. Not enough to save relaundered material. Shooter says B+. Another humor episode. But it was also wasn't trying. It was more like an adventure humor. That wasn't like a complete comedy like they usually do. But yeah, it had a lot of humor in it. At least this one had some science and uses the war effectively. I like the justification given makes sense. Research into transwarp conduits. Hang on. Couldn't Dax have beamed in more, like you said, compressed oxygen particles, or beamed Miles and Julian back in for a breather? I would think so. Let's not look into the energy output of the weapons being reduced. Well, hang on. Let me find your next one, shooter. Stepping out to Eden. Yay, brother. Okay.
Brother.
While there are issues, this type of story has happened before in other treks, such as turning into kids or developing bonus or devolving. Right, bonus points for recognizing the air molecule problem. It's a fair call.
Oh my gosh, I hate it when they turn them into kids.
Oh yeah, right, the TNG one with the yeah. Kal-El says C-, and man, he's usually very generous. Wow. Once again, the series attempts to give the crew and the audience a break from the Dominion War with a somewhat humorous episode. The premise, however, makes little sense. Why send any? Hang on. Gotta find number 2. All right. Runabout into the anomaly when a sensor probe could theoretically accomplish the same task, especially given the severe spatial distortion it would undergo. The Jem'Hadar dynamic, especially, hang on, between the Alpha and Gamma commanders was entirely predictable in the power play between the two, as was the end result with the Starfleet crew retaking the ship. The parts of the episode I, hang on, bop, 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 did enjoy, however, was being able to see parts of the Defiant from an entirely new perspective of the miniaturized runabout and its crew, as well as the special effects during the flying sequences of said runabout. Other than that, though, this was an uneventful distraction from the overall narrative of the season, and not even a welcome one at that. All right, Kal-El. Scuba Pete says, "Hey, I'm a little runabout, short and stout." Dax shoots the Hadar in the ass and drives them out. Wow.
Scuba Pete.
Oh, you rock, dude. You rock, man. Scuba Pete rocks it, doesn't he?
I love Scuba Pete.
Let's see here. What's that? Okay, no. Oh, hang on. Make sure I got. Hang on, everybody, getting back to him. Just backtracking here to some more here. All right. Enigmatic Drop Bear says B. AKA Honey, I shrank the Rubicon to cross the anomaly. There were so many unbelievable plot elements, contrivances, and characterizations in this that I lost count, but it was a lot of fun.
Oh, good.
A wise old Jem'Hadar lecturing the brash young leader. What's that make? The elder 7 years old? Yeah.
Yeah, they have a toddler lifespan, so yeah.
Right, yeah. They don't live long. Where are the Jem'Hadar getting their Ketracel White from these days? Wasn't the main manufacturing facility destroyed in a time to stand? It was, so they're probably running out.
And they did not hand over that planet where they could have developed the funguses, the fungi.
So they must be running out. Yeah, Princess Fiona says B. Okie dokie. Simply Steve says D. Honey, I Shrunk the Trek. A tough little shit. The pew-pew on the Jem'Hadar was funny, but the brainy Bashir Jadzia dialogue wasn't. Can't make up their minds on which Bashir we get.
Yeah.
True that.
Sometimes nincompoop, sometimes beyond genius. Like, what's happening here?
Raymond Feliciano says, "Hey, I loved Fantastic Voyage, so I enjoy this lighthearted fare. I know it's small of me. How dare you with that pun, sir? Thank you, Raymond." Dave G. Sound says C. Shrunken ships are a sci-fi trope. So are anomalies. To always anomalies to always escape. Why not just add another time warp and character swap while you're at it? Not very original and nothing terribly interesting. I hear you.
Dave G. Sound, I love you.
Stuntbrat says Raquel and LMBO, much love, honey. Okay.
I love it, sweetheart.
LMBO?
We love you. And I love all of the stories you're telling about being on set and which movies you did and which stand-ins you did, which stunts you did. Everyone loves it.
Hungry Boy says B+. DS9 swipes Land of the Giants, but in a coy, playful way. Good enough. Good enough. Nice handling of homage, yet staying DS9. It's a 1962 comic book on film. Indeed. Harmless fun. More harmless than something that's coming up in an episode next. Never mind. D+ says the great Eric K. the Bronze Wrencher. Fantastic Voyage meets DS9. Only the movie was entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched that in forever. You got to watch it. That's a good movie.
I do.
The Jem'Hadar must be the most unobservant species in the universe. How can no one see a glowing spaceship flying around?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have great eyesight. I don't know. Do you think they would have good eyesight? Heck, and an insect flying around me.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Why this crew? Why this crew?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that they had stealth silent mode for these. Everyone is dumber than a bag of hammers. Bags of hammers are not smart. I can tell you that.
Oh God, I love you.
Michael Beacom says B+. Page or number 537. I guess it means number 537. This one comes before Far Beyond the Stars. Oh, okay. Sorry, but this is how my number one guilty pleasure. This is now my number one guilty pleasure episode. Page 528. For a change, Ira Burr is indulging his love of sci-fi. They had me at Fantastic Voyage.
Aw. Boss man, Claude Salling just walked through the door.
Hey, Claude. Oops, just want to. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Let's see here. It's an homage to Land of the Giants, Incredible Shrinking Man, Inner Space, etc. In back office, they were calling it Honey, I Shrunk the Runabout. Page 529. Bottom line, it entertained me, and there are so many serious episodes which didn't come close to that for me. Logic and tech problems, I don't care. And for Trek, see the Pterodon incident for a precedent. Yes, the animation. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same exact way. This episode is just pure fun. It's definitely, I guess, a guilty pleasure. I'm gonna have to feel guilty because I liked it. Let's see, Shooter.
What's going on, boss?
Did Shooter have? Did I already read Shooters?
I don't know, darling. I
got his number
checked
3.
on the dogs for 2 wags of a couple of puppies' tails. I'm not sure, boss.
I can't. Shooter, let us know if I've already read yours because I'm seeing your number 3 comment right there, but I'm not seeing your first 2. And I may have just forgot to unstar 3. So, Shooter, check back with me and see if let me know if we've read yours already. Because if not, I may have just forgot to unstar it, being a dumbass. So let me know. Sean Carter says A++++++. Wow, A+++++.
Nice.
I guess I'm just disagreeing with RM tonight. This was a wonderfully written episode. Despite its goofiness, the sci-fi was thick here, and with wonderful character arcs. And the subtle allegory is here as well, which tells us that even if we are small, it's the size of our heart that matters. P.S.
I hope so. I hope so.
Just kidding.
Because I do not think we could suffer that dad joke. I mean, we love you, but that was a hardcore dad joke, Sean Carter.
I liked it, John. I liked it, Sean. Pleasant Valley Bigger says, A- silly fun. That said, I really enjoyed how they actually made the Jem'Hadar more multidimensional. Finally, a hint that they can disagree, almost political. Let me know if Shooter lets us know something on that one.
I will. I'm watching.
Wolfie says,
Shooter just said, Clobbering Times. You did read mine.
I did?
You did,
Okay,
boss.
I just
Yep.
totally forgot. Sorry,
Thanks,
buddy.
shoot.
I'm an idiot. Thank you. Wolfie says rating A. Love this episode. It's fun. This is how I played with some of my Star Trek models as a kid. Nothing like a photon to the chest. This did remind me of a certain Rick Moranis movie
Yeah.
where they flew into the nose vent of Mega Maid.
Yeah, Michael Beacom was saying
talking about
that
Megamind?
in the text they were admitting that backstage they were referring to it as Honey, I Shrunk the Kid.
Oh yeah, Honey, I Shrunk My Rubicon in the pool. Wow, dude.
Oh
DJ
no.
Ronnie G
Oh no.
says B minus. It's fun as long as you don't take it too seriously. Yes, Raquel raised good points about Bashir's transient intelligence and deedishness. Thank you so much, DJ Ronnie G.
DJ Ronnie G.
Stunt brat.
Boss man, you received a gift from Cardi. Gil Bavel is here, everyone. Don't forget to follow Cardinal Sin on Twitter, and please also follow him on YouTube. He always has interesting content, great giveaways, and he is a big part of our nerd and geek communities.
Thank you, Gil. Cardi Sin, good to see you, buddy. He says, my favorite duo on YouTube, Clobbering Times and Raquel Briggs. Thank you, buddy. A match made in heaven. All the info I could ever want in a dynamic range of topics. Well, thank you. Thank you, buddy.
Mwah, mwah,
I hope you're
mwah.
doing well,
Thank you,
man.
sweetheart.
Appreciate you, buddy. Stuntbrat says, Raquel, I got to double the teen girl Amy when Rick Moranis. Got to double the teen girl Amy when Rick Moranis dumped them into the garbage. Oh, that's cool.
Yay!
Not when she slid down into the mud thingy or something, like on the flower thing or whatever. That wasn't you. Gotcha. Princess Fiona, B minus. Really?
Fiona.
I don't know what I think it was. I don't know. She already.
I
said
don't know,
one
but I
before,
really
Princess.
like that person. Like, I'm looking forward to getting to know her
Princess
a lot
Fiona
better
rocks.
because
Yes,
she is
absolutely.
hysterical and she's smart and she is a true blue Star Trekker.
Hungry Boy says, with this cyclone of raspberries from the sky, I'm gonna need to check the state of my roof after the show. Wow. All right, not a review, but
I had to start that one. It was cute.
a person's a person, no matter how small. Dr. Seuss says, JT Kirk, you started.
I had
All
to.
right.
These are some cute
That's
comments,
I'm
Captain.
just saying, you started. Hey, are we missing the first? Oh no, marks are backwards, but we got it. Okay, you have Mark's last one first. Anyway, first one last. It is Mark D with a C. Our chief engineer says A plus 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 plus. I love this episode. This was the best version of Honey, I Shrunk the Fantastic Voyage runabout in the Pym anomaly ever. Indeedishness. Wow. Okay, so maybe sometimes it didn't make much sense, but it was fun. And finally, you see an episode with a sci-fi premise. Let's see here.
Sci-fantasy premise.
Well, was it though? I mean, we don't know that it might not be sort of possible that this could happen. I mean, it was
Shin kicks.
It was great. Can you disprove it?
Your agonizer, please.
It's great to see the chief and Bashir deal with this shrinkage problem, dude, and successfully rise to the occasion. We need a poll. Raquel Welch, Terry Farrell. Look, I love Terry Farrell, but Raquel Welch is the ultimate goddess of all time. I'm sorry. How dare you even? Never mind. Dude. Dude. Anyway, all right. On to our next episode. Are we ready?
Our next episode is
A Matter of Honor.
oh.
Honor. Oh, Honor of Among Thieves. Sorry.
Honor Among Thieves.
Honor Among
Not Thieves.
Thieves.
I'm making classics jokes. Really bad. Okay, let's stay copyright compliant, shall we? I will be reading from Wikipedia about Honor Among Thieves, which is season 6, episode 15, prod code 539. We all watched this episode for the very first time on February 23rd, 1998. Let's dig in.
Yowza.
O'Brien is sent to infiltrate the Orion Syndicate on an out-of-the-way planet called Farius Prime. Starfleet intelligence has given him the cover of a fix-it man down on his luck. Knowing that the Syndicate is recruiting people with such skills. He spends his days in a bar frequented by Bilby, a local syndicate operator. O'Brien creates an opportunity and makes the most of it when one of Bilby's men, Kroll, is attempting to hack into a computer belonging to a local restaurant. O'Brien sabotages the computer to damage Kroll's expensive hacking equipment. Okay, so that didn't make any sense at all. So let me just explain. That's not what's happening at all. So Kroll regularly breaks into the banking system, and he pays for all of these criminals' drinks and food, so that he can be a part of their criminal syndicate by breaking into people's banking information and charging their bank accounts. O'Brien knows about this. It's implied that Starfleet tells him this, so he actually sabotages his implant to feedback. I don't know why it's saying that he made the most of some opportunity. This is dumb. Whoever wrote this needs shin kicks. Let's keep going. Miles saves Kroll from injury, introducing himself as Connolly, and volunteers to fix the equipment. Later, O'Brien repairs 3 broken Klingon-made disruptor weapons for Bilby, thereby winning his trust. Bilby witnesses for O'Brien before his boss, Ramus, taking responsibility should anything go wrong with Connolly's involvement in the syndicate. Ramus comes to a meeting accompanied by a Vorta, revealing that the Orion Syndicate is working with the Dominion. By now, O'Brien has succeeded in learning the identity of a Starfleet officer recently working for the Syndicate, fulfilling his original mission objective. But Chadwick, his Starfleet intelligence contact, asks him to remain undercover to learn more about the Dominion's involvement. The Vorta orders Billy to use Klingon disruptors to assassinate the local Klingon ambassador, an opponent of the alliance between the Klingons and the United Federation of Planets against the Dominion. Sorry for the rough reading, people. These are weird sentences. Most of them don't make sense. By having the ambassador killed by Klingon disruptors, it will appear that his assassination was ordered by the Klingon Chancellor Gowron. The Dominion believes that they will be branded a martyr, furthering his cause and therefore weakening the alliance from within. O'Brien informs Chadwick of the assassination plot. Rather than arrest the men involved, he opts to alert the Klingons and let them capture and execute Bilby and his men. By this point, O'Brien has gotten close to Bilby and hates the idea of being responsible for the death of a man who trusts him. He decides to tell Bilby the truth. Broken by the news, Bilby has little option but to head straight into the trap, and there is no running from the syndicate. He hopes that if he dies before it becomes obvious that O'Brien is working for Starfleet, Ramus will spare his family. Again, folks, sorry, the writing is horrible. Before leaving, he asks O'Brien to take care of his pet cat, Chester. It doesn't make much sense there. Very poorly written. And obviously the implication is not that he will take care of his pet cat, Chester. It's that he's basically bequeathed the cat to him because he knows he's going to die. If this gentleman does not go off and fulfill this mission, even though he knows he's going to be killed and that he's being set up, if he doesn't die himself, the syndicate will kill his entire family. And of course, his family means everything to him. So that's a more accurate portrayal of what's happening here. And that is all the internet, Wikipedia, has to say about Honor Among Thieves. I'm going to turn it over to the boss. Boss, you have some gifts and some stuff to say about this episode.
Yeah, first of all, hello, Michelle. I can't really pronounce the way you have your name now, dear, but I know it's Michelle Johansson. Now it's like Michelle Shannon. Well, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, Michelle, if you can see that, but hello, Michelle. I'm just going to say Michelle like we used to because I can't really exactly tell that spelling, but welcome. It's good to see you. Let's see here. JT Kirk, thank you so much, buddy. He says, I can tell you, thank you for the super chat, by the way. I appreciate it, buddy. He says, I can tell you I don't have money, but what I do have is a very particular set of skills taken. I know skills. I've acquired over a very long career, skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. Well, I love that movie, Miles, as Miles O'Brien is in the part of uh, Brian Mills from Taken. Thank you so much, JT. Appreciate it, buddy. Cardinal Sin, thank you, sir. He says, there's no money in Star Trek. Everybody knows that. Literally and figuratively these days.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, it's good to see you there. So thank you, Cardi. Appreciate you, buddy. So, yeah, I like Nick Tate. You know, good actor. It's kind of cool to see him there. Wasn't he in Space 1999?
Mm-hmm. Sure was.
Yeah, good actor. I just don't really. You know what? I would almost rather you try to be more, at least close to a science fiction. If you're a science fiction goofy adventure like the previous episode we just reached, or something that I didn't really care for, that I didn't enjoy that much, but it's still sort of an attempt to be at least along the lines of Star Trek in some kind of fashion, even if it's closer to some of the war stuff they do. But when we have everyone familiar with the old TV show Wise Guy, you know, an undercover crime drama mission for O'Brien, and he's great. The performances are fine. It's well done. It's good drama. It's nowhere even close to Star Trek. Not even goofy Star Trek like the previous episode, or not even heavy-handed Star Trek like the one before, Far Beyond the Stars. It's just Wise Guy. It's just him on a secret mission. It's just a crime drama or what have you. No. Not that it's not well done. It is well done. It's well acted. I mean, of course, it's
but that's not the point.
He's a great actor, and yeah, Nick Tate, great actor. The episode elicited, had some emotional impact to it in terms of this character that he goes with. But I'm like, again, not what I sign up with for Star Trek. I would rather at least have a goofy, fun time, like with One Little Ship, than have this kind of crap every week. And they do too much of it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But anyway, notes.
I sort of feel like none of the episodes this week are science fiction, and some of them are unbecoming of Star Trek, and I know that people like them, but I mean, how much can you take? I mean, we're drawing to a close here on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and it's not a lot of science fiction. And even when it is, what people are calling science fiction, it's actually science fantasy, and it's really playing into stuff that involves children's shows and stuff. So I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm not really impressed with any of the episodes this week, to tell you the truth, folks. But Honor Among Thieves, I just wrote in my notes, this is O'Brien Cloak and Dagger. Now. Yeah. And people might be upset with me because they take it personally that I'm talking this way about Star Trek Deep Space Nine. But you have to remember that this is the series that people say they like because it is so unlike Star Trek. So I'm going to call it as I see it. And my boss here, my captain, uses a saying, call the balls and strikes. So I'm going to call the balls and strikes, okay? It's very obvious, like Princess Fiona was saying earlier in the chat, that and Dave G Sound was saying in the chat earlier, it seems as though they would rather do anything but do Star Trek, and they would rather do anything but do science fiction, and they'll do almost anything so that they don't have to do it. And you have to understand that that's not good. It's not good for Star Trek, because science fiction is an extremely tiny genre. Okay, if you're writing for young adult, you're going to make millions and millions of dollars. Okay. If you're writing spy novels, you're going to make millions and millions and millions of dollars. Science fiction is a very tiny genre that is meant to edify you. It's meant to, enlighten you. It's meant to stimulate you, educate you. And it's so sad because they go out of their way to make this entire iteration of Star Trek un-Star Trek-like, and they're open about it, folks. It's not like I'm making this stuff up and it's just opinion. They're open about it. And then we get episode after episode after episode that has nothing to do with Star Trek and has nothing to do with science fiction. And okay, I'm glad you like the Cloak and Dagger stuff. And if you like the Cloak and Dagger stuff, good for you. You know, a teacher will put a gold star on your paper and you can go back and sit at your desk. But the bottom line is that that's not good for our tiny little thing we call science fiction. And nurturing that is very important, because these short stories and science fiction lead to those incredible celluloid celebrations you see, those monster movies that you love so much. They come from this tiny little genre. So it's upsetting. And so I know that a lot of people are going to say, oh, but this is a great character episode. Oh, this is Cloak and Dagger. It's so well acted. It's so good. What does it have to do with Star Trek? And what does it have to do with science fiction? Absolutely nothing.
Zero.
And also, sometimes they even go anti-science fiction. Take a look at Yint. Okay, Yint is an unnamed species in Star Trek that they didn't even give that species a name. How did that thing evolve, and how does it eat? It has a tongue that comes from its nose to its chin. How does it get food in its mouth? Science fiction people are looking for things that stimulate their brains, their intellect. They want to know about technology. They want to know about alien life forms. They want to know about planets. They want to know about medical developments and technological developments. That's what science fiction is for. And so, yeah, okay, Cloak and Dagger character episode with Miles O'Brien. Okay.
What a waste of Miles O'Brien. Yeah. No, look, that's what I would rather a flawed attempt to do a good science fiction story.
Yes.
That is at least, how many times on TNG did we beat up an episode? But at least most of it was, we were beating it up on its story merits of how it worked well as science fiction or how it didn't. Even things they mistakes with the characters or whatever. But rarely were we saying this isn't even what Star Trek's supposed to do. Usually it was just mistakes. It was like it was supposed to be a science fiction story and they didn't do it well. But at least it was working in the proper framework, and it just made mistakes, and they got too fantasy. They got too just various things. They made a lot of mistakes because we were brutal at TNG. We were brutal to it. But it wasn't like it never seemed like to me we went like weeks and weeks in a row where it didn't even feel like a science fiction show.
Yeah, that's
a flawed one, yes.
Yeah, and that's just it. And I understand that people get really upset with me and they don't like that I'm saying these things. But like, and maybe they don't mind. But for me, when something is a situation comedy or it's Cloak and Dagger, I know that they're going for the normie audience. And when they're doing that, they're disrespecting Star Trek. And that's not just because, like I'm some sort of weird intellectual academic person. It's because I like genre. I do. I really love period pieces. My God, like I absolutely love period pieces. I adore Peaky Blinders. I love Dangerous Liaisons. I love being taken somewhere else to a different time in history. And so that is a genre that I really, truly adore. I also really love foreign film. I absolutely adore foreign film. And I love historical films, especially docudramas. I love that sort of thing. And I love science fiction. And so, people need to realize that I'm not attacking them. And I understand, okay, so you like it. Haha, it's situation comedy. That's great. But for me, when somebody comes into the room and completely switches the topic and the genre, it's like ripping the rug out from underneath you and walking out and making it seem as though you should like it. Is it easy to come up with a new science fiction idea every week? Yes, it is difficult. But you know what makes it less difficult? Hiring science fiction authors to write science fiction for you. Hiring people who write drama and people who write soap operas and having them do this for you and people liking it. Okay, but there are consequences to that. And if you don't mind switching genre, that's okay for you. But for me, you also have to respect me. When I'm watching science fiction, I want science fiction. And if it goes to science fantasy, I'm okay with that. But when we go to situation comedy, when we go to soap opera, when we go to Cloak and Dagger, when we go to romance, when we go to the Love Boat, I'm out of here, and I'm mad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No thing, but I absolutely understand. Absolutely understand. What is your rating of Honor Amongst Thieves?
Honor Amongst Thieves is great. I'm genetically Irish. My people come from Ireland, from the south of Ireland. All of my DNA is Irish. I absolutely love Colm Meaney. I think he's great. I think he's a wonderful character. I love seeing him in a Cloak and Dagger episode, but this isn't Star Trek and this isn't science fiction. And I know that's going to make some people mad because they enjoyed it, but I have to tell the truth. There are boundaries to genre, folks, and it's important to respect genre, because when we conflate all the genres, we're going to mess up our entertainment. The corporations win and we lose. It's a C+, and only because of Colm Meaney.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a D because it's just not. I mean, it is fairly compelling drama, but I sit there and I go, all right, look, this is not really what I signed up for. I like Nick Tate, I love Colm Meaney and stuff like that, but I'm bored by this episode because you're not where I want to be. So I'm just gonna give it a D. It's rare for me to give something a D that doesn't actually piss me off. This episode doesn't make me angry. In fact, I think it's well done as a drama, but I'm getting tired of this kind of stuff. It's not like this is a rare. This is more often than not. This show strays from its, just everything you just said. So, our wonderful friends in the chat, please now give us any rating and any words you may have about Honor Among Thieves. Go for it.
You heard the boss. Fire at will. Fire at will.
Fire at will. Fire at will. Fire at will. Fire at will. And they will fire.
Ooh,
there they go.
Wow, massive dump.
Blasted. They're ready. Yeah.
Okay, boss. I'm getting to work right now.
Go for it. All righty then. Let's see. Scuba Pete says D. Maybe in a D minus. I heard working titles were Vorta kills a who. Oh no, Mr. Bilby. Oh no, Mr. Bilby. And Chester takes a dump. Waggle.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, sir. How dare you?
I love that human being. One day, I hope he and his wife come to visit me. I have invited them to come to Canada, and so we can take them around, show them Jasper and show them Banff. I love those two human beings. They're marvelous people. Just marvelous.
Indeed. Let's see here. JT Kirk says C minus. As a kid, I wondered why this is an ep when the Dominion War rages on. Why doesn't the Federation have its own spy cadre? Yeah, exactly. Why use O'Brien? I like this genre, just not in Star Trek. It doesn't fit. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, honey. I agree.
I mean, O'Brien's a bad mother and all, but, Dave G. Sound says B minus. A good and interesting story with excellent acting, though this episode, again, contains little sci-fi. It does maintain an overall backstory true to established DS9 canon and continues later on. Gotcha. Stephen Kal-El Stephen B+. B+, he says this episode tells a decent O'Brien-centric story in which he fills a role that he's not normally accustomed to. An undercover agent for Starfleet intelligence watching the friendship between O'Brien and Bilby develop was interesting to see, even more so when it's clear that O'Brien really does care about Bilby's fate, risking his own career by attempting to warn him. Hang on. Was that 2? Hang on, buddy. Tactics and the involvement of the Dominion were hardly surprising, but that development served its purpose in the story. The only thing that prevented this from being rated higher is hang Hang on, buddy. Gonna get to it. Okay. Tired trope of the bad admiral plot device. This time it's bribery, except with access to replicators and being a member of the Federation, which doesn't need or use money. This doesn't make. Was a bad admiral in there? I must have missed it. I don't even remember that part. That's how much this episode held my attention.
I think you might be referring to the fact that there was a vote that they were just going to do this, and that O'Brien thought it was unethical, and so I think he sort of means like the powers that be. I think that's what he's assigning.
Okay,
that to.
I could have swore. I just figured I missed something.
No,
O'Brien's remorse over simply doing this duty while simultaneously condemning Bilby are somewhat admirable, as he clearly has a conscience despite his actions under orders. No one can empathize. No one can empathize with O'Brien's self-recriminations at the end of the episode. An overall good but not great episode. Thank you so much, Kal-El, buddy. Enigmatic Drop Bear says, D. This episode is stupid. We're expected to believe that Starfleet unintelligence can't find an operative to infiltrate the Orion Syndicate. So appropriate and engineer instead.
Yeah.
Good point.
I know, it's bad.
We're expected to believe that this Orion Syndicate is some galactic scale criminal organization that the Dominion would value. Yet the setting is claustrophobic, more akin to petty crime. Wow. Another good point. The Syndicate's Grand Poobah then descends from the stars, with a Dominion ambassador to award a grand quest to this ragtag bunch of nobody scoundrels.
Yeah.
I thought it was also stupid that it was to assassinate a Klingon ambassador. Was lame. Chief, then suffering from some weird manifestation of Stockholm syndrome, betrays Starfleet and his mission to save his new buddy. This man has a wife and children. What is he doing here?
You asked that through the whole thing. I mean, that's what a science fiction person does. I mean, science fiction people in a genre, we're a very specific audience. We have our own psychographic, we have our own demographic, folks. And the corporations know this. Hollywood knows this. Authors know this. We actually study the psychographic of our audience, the demographic of our audience. And I can definitely tell you, science fiction people, they're highly educated people, and they're going to ask different types of questions than somebody who has decided that they wanted to sit down and watch a rom-com. It's a completely different audience with completely different expectations. And I agree with Enigmatic Drop Bear. You ask that through the whole episode.
Indeed. Pleasant Valley Picker says, A+. I like an O'Brien ep. His interaction with Bilby was great. Bilby was a killer, but had compassion. Good actor, protected Miles and his family, multidimensional bad guy. I enjoyed him. Okie dokie. PvP. Simply Steve says D-. O'Brien, or D, maybe D-. O'Brien, only one who could be spared to spy?
Yeah.
Since DS9 goes nowhere, what else can a CE, a chief engineer, do? Keep checking the energy coils constantly. A boring episode. We should have stayed on the Enterprise D.
Yeah.
He should have stayed. Yeah, he should have.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Hungry Boy says C-. Okay, we get it. The writers have a Jupiter-sized Woody for mixing genres.
Yes.
But here, the spy noir and sci-fi dilute each other rather than enhance each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice comment.
As a fan of Richard Burton and the Spy Who Came In From the Cold, all I can say is at least we got a cute putty tat in a putty tat. So I saw a putty tat in this episode.
Little putty tat.
I like doggies better. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Eric K says D-. So the chief engineer of the most important space station is trying to be a super spy. We know the Orion Syndicate has been on the station. He meets in person the Starfleet intel guy. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I like how they were meeting out behind a building, so they thought they were safe. Like, I mean, if Orion Syndicate's that bad, I mean, I don't know. I would have had like I would have had done it in a very safe place with a bunch of help, with a bunch of people watching my back. Are these people just dumb or stupid or both? No
Yeah.
wonder every other operative was killed. I guess the Orion Syndicate figures Starfleet gave up. Maybe this was the Chief's holodeck program super spy.
Yeah.
Princess Fiona says, I said earlier they need to avoid these types of shows. You can't just take a modern day episode of a spy thriller and graft it onto the 24th century setting.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a great point. They don't know how to do Signet versus Human. Signet versus Human? Did you say that?
Yeah, Princess Fiona, I don't even know what to say about you. I am so
You rock.
happy that you are here. Like, it is so good to have you. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're going to stay here with us. I hope you're having a good time.
Let's see. It seems out of character for O'Brien to take this kind of a risk, given that he is a family man. Surely there are others much more well suited. Yes,
Yes.
another very good point, Princess Fiona.
Yes.
Let's see here. Shooter says a B minus. I can actually see O'Brien being selected for this mission. He is an experienced soldier with a versatile skill set. Still, there are better alternatives out there, such as anyone who is single. True. I find it hard to believe that DS9's maintenance crews can keep the station running, or can't keep the station running, or that O'Brien wouldn't have taught them how to maintain the dual Federation Cardassian technologies.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was all for cheap jokes.
Mhm.
The star of the show is Chester the cat, because spoilers, Keiko hates him.
Yeah.
What is with Star Trek? What is with Star Trek and cats? Not that I'm complaining, as I'm a cat person myself.
Well,
I
we
don't
get
know.
Porthos soon. Porthos is coming soon.
Yes, I love Porthos. An enjoyable, if not cliche, story that is well acted. I do enjoy the ending, even if Miles acted foolishly revealing his identity. I guess someone wanted to write on a cop show or something, and probably did.
Yeah. And Shooter is talking some inside business there, because that's true. Like, when you want to unfurl your resume, you really want to show what you're capable of creating. And so that's wonderful comment. Love it, Shooter.
Lisa says D minus. Was this a Swallow Sweet episode? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope, it wasn't. Worst part in the end, O'Brien rips the blindfold off before Bilby is set out in front of the proverbial firing squad. O'Brien, not even cruel, bad.
Yep.
It was
Love you,
pretty
Lisa.
dumb. Absolutely, Lisa, it was dumb.
Love you, Lisa.
Wolfie says a rating C. Chief O'Brien, Prince of Thieves, Trek fellas, Trek fellas, yeah, exactly, Trek fellas, yeah. Entertaining enough. I thought it borrowed the Matrix a bit. Out of place episode. Indeed, it's just Wolfie. It's just Fanty Outsidey says B for the episode, as in Colin is always excellent. I think I mean Colin Meany probably. But
Colin.
as to the lack of sci-fi, it would have been easy. It would have been easily fixed if the Orion Syndicate wanted to rob a bank that's bland. However, if they first wanted to steal, let's say, Scalasian, that's 2 weeks in a row you've mentioned the Scalasian water from Wink of an Eye, which would make stealing anything incredibly easy. Then by foiling them stealing the water, you also give them access to a weapon long forgotten that could also change the course of the war, which is evidence of the ineptitude of Section 31 Starfleet intelligence. Got you covered, buddy. Thank you. And finally, the great Mark D with the C, Chief Engineer Extraordinaire, says A minus. Wow. Great character study of O'Brien and how he is torn about not being able to protect Bilby. The original actor for Bilby passed away 3 days before shooting. Whoa, really? Wow. I don't know that. I like Nick Tate, though. The Bilby O'Brien relationship was going to be very much father and son relationship, mainly due to the physical similarities between Hallahan and Meany. And Burr feels that this hurt. Burr feels this hurt the episode DS9 Companion. Doesn't make sense that O'Brien would volunteer for this episode, so I blame Keiko. Yeah. That said, we've had too much drama and not enough sci-fi in DS9. Well, I'm a sucker for a Chief episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we all like the Chief.
Yep, we do.
So, what about it? Are we
It
ready?
looks like Midnight's Oblivion just walked through the door.
Hey, Midnight's
Everyone,
Oblivion.
please say hello to Midnight's Oblivion,
Good to
good
see
friend
ya.
around here. And I think PvP is calling it a night. I think he's going to bed. And I hope I
All
didn't
right.
miss anyone else slipping out for the evening. But I think I did. I think Maddie's daddy, I think he went to bed because, of course, he has his little girl. So he's on daddy duty and
Gotcha.
he loves spending time
Okay.
with her. So he went to bed
All right.
early so he can get up early with her. So, hey,
right, well-
Neurotinex Amanda Bear
Hey,
is here.
Narot. Oh, right. Old friend. Hello, Narot.
Hi,
Good to see
Nerot.
ya.
Oh, Anonymous has to header as well.
Okay.
That's a Canadianism, isn't it? A header. Sorry about that. He has to go.
Good night, Hanano. Thank you, buddy. Good to see you.
Good night, Anonymous.
It's great to have you here. Are we ready for our next one? And final
We are,
episode of the
boss.
evening?
Let's do it.
Okay. I shall take a quick break while you get started, but be back before you're done.
Okay, boss.
Quick run.
Everyone, you got my 6. Let's do this. Change of Heart. Change of Heart is season 6, episode 16. It is prod code 540. We all watched this for the very first time on March 2nd, 1998. And now I'm going to be reading extemporaneously, as I regularly do, cold reading from Wikipedia. It's not well wrought. Saddle up, lock and load. Dax and Worf are sent to meet with Lasarin, a Cardassian double agent who wishes to defect to the Federation. Lasarin has valuable military intelligence, but will share no information until he is extracted by Dax and Worf. In 3 days, he plans to walk into the jungle on the planet of Sukara, seeking no alternative. They agree to rendezvous with him there. Once Dax and Worf land their runabout on Sukara, they have 2 days to reach the rendezvous point. They must trek through 20 kilometers of dense jungle and will have to evade the Dominion's surveillance and patrols. They hike the entire day, finally stopping to make camp after night falls. Despite the difficult journey, it is almost like a honeymoon for the newlyweds. What? Who enjoy talking and joking together. However, they soon realize they are in the path of a patrol of Jemadar, the Dominion soldiers. They manage to kill all 3 Jemadar, but Dax is shot with the disruptor that leaves an anticoagulant in her wound, meaning the bleeding cannot be stopped. With the help of painkillers and regular plasma transfusions, they continue their trek. But Dax's injuries impede their progress, and eventually she loses the ability to walk. Since she doesn't lose the ability to walk, she's just in pain and can't move anymore, but it's not like anything happens to her legs. Anyway, it's a stomach wound. Since they cannot abandon their mission, Dax and Worf agree Worf must keep going, leaving Dax behind. The newlyweds share a kiss goodbye, and Worf heads off into the jungle. But as he gets farther away, Worf realizes he cannot complete the mission. Instead, he rushes back to now unconscious Dax, reaching her just in time to save her life. Back on Deep Space Nine, he learns she will recover, but their mission is a complete loss. Lasarin has been killed. Captain Sisko informs Worf that as captain, he must issue a formal reprimand, lessening the possibility of Worf ever getting his own command, and prohibit any further missions with Worf and Dax as a team. But as a man and a husband, he would have done the same thing. In a side plot, Miles O'Brien tries to coach Julian Bashir to win a game of Tongo, a Ferengi gambling game, and break Quark's winning streak. Quark wins by reminding Bashir of his former infatuation with Dax, leaving him too distracted and glum to focus on his game. Now that I'm done with Wikipedia, which that particular entry didn't have the suckitude it normally has. It was fairly decent. I'm going to turn it over to the boss. Captain, my captain, please tell me what you thought of Change of Heart.
Change of Heart?
Yes.
Worf is no Straker, is he?
Nope.
It's funny how, isn't it weird that we talked about that episode the other night we reviewed of UFO about a matter called A Matter of Priorities? For those who don't know, we're reviewing a show called UFO on on Thursday nights, Clubby's Clubhouse. And we dealt with an episode where Commander Straker had to make a decision and put the whole world in front of his own personal interest, and it cost him his son.
Yep.
But a Klingon warrior can't do that. For his own wife. With his wife, I don't know what to say. I don't really like the episode. And the episode, first of all, another one of these stories that really doesn't really make me jump up for joy and snap my fingers and jump for joy, get a clean bill of health from Dr. McCoy.
Dr. McCoy.
It doesn't feel like it's not really a Star Trek story per se.
It's not. Has nothing to do with Star Trek.
And it's just more the war, war crap. But it does call into question what, Worf's ethics. And hey, Captain Infinity and beyond, what's up, dude?
Hey, Captain Infinity! Nice to see you. Yeah, the entire episode is incredibly stupid. It is so dumb. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
It makes absolutely no sense. This is so anti Gene Roddenberry and so anti Starfleet that it's pathetic. It's pathetic.
Kirk let the woman he loves die to save countless people. People, heroes they put their mission above themselves. But this, just almost like this was written by a modern day writer. I have little to say about it other than that. You go on with your notes.
Keiko's been away for 6 months. Oh, Miles. She's been away for 6 months again, and the reason why I bring this up is because I am an academic. I am an intellectual. Like, that's the kind of life I want to lead. I want to be writing dissertations and writing in academia for the rest of my life. That's what I want. That's what I love. And there are plenty of people in academia who have written papers about how this is like such a great marriage. It's so realistic. It's like, okay, this isn't a great marriage. It's more like the reason why people get divorced. Anyway, like that time when Miles wanted to see La Cucaracha, the coochie coo of Kira Nerys in front of his wife. Anyway, Keiko's been away for 6 months. Story 1 is rescue a Cardi spy. Story 2 is beat Quark at Tongo. Who developed this particular teleplay? The episode Terry Farrell asked to be killed off on is the same episode we revisit Julian Bashir and Quark being in love with Dax. So this is more of this crap, okay? And on that, we're going to discuss this later on. But it is important to realize that there are two sides to the reason why Terry Farrell left DS9. Some people, blamed it on her wanting to be on that show Becker. She when she went into contract negotiations, she said that she wanted to be a reoccurring character. She didn't want to be a regular character anymore. And so, the powers that be at the studio said, well, you can't do that. You're a regular part of this show, so it's all or nothing. And then, all was quiet for many reasons. And then she fired back. And, this is from StarTrek.com. The problems with my leaving were with Rick Berman. In my opinion, he was just basically very misogynistic. Basically, he was trying to bully me into saying yes to signing a new contract. Rick said I was hardballing him, and I said, I'm not. I just want to have a conversation. You're giving me a take it or leave it offer, and I'm not okay with that. So finally, I did have a conversation with him and asked to cut down my number of episodes or just let me out. And so it sort of got blamed on Rick Berman. But Rick Berman told a very different story on the 50-year mission. And this is his direct quote. To say that this woman was let go is absolutely ridiculous. She was not fired. She wanted to be a reoccurring character. You can't be in a situation on shows where somebody is just going to 7 out of 13. I love that people, including some of these actors, love to think that I had all of this power. The studio basically said, no way. She is a regular character and she does all 26 episodes or nothing. And then he added about their relationship. Terry and I got along perfectly, and for some reason she departed. Years after she departed, she started saying that I had something to do with her departure, which I can tell you is absolutely untrue. So I thought that it was good that I, make sure that we get that straightened out. Those are the two quotes. And it's very important that you hear both sides of the story and direct quotes. That is both sides of the story. Those are direct quotes. And make of it what you like, folks. Okay, yeah, mating in the jungle. So there's a whole scene where all we talk about is mating in the jungle. I would like everyone to take note that it takes until 29:30 for something to actually happen in this episode. Up to 29:30, it is all interpersonal stuff. So absolutely nothing happens in the story. And then we have fewer than 15 minutes left to spend on Jadzia dying. The reprimand of Worf at the end of the episode makes absolutely zero sense. It doesn't matter that Jadzia is his wife. Never in the history of Starfleet has any person been left to die for the sake of a mission. That's not the way people in Starfleet work. If it were Ben and Kira, he would have never have left Kira on that planet. He would have never have left her to secure the mission. That wouldn't have happened. Ben would have saved Kira. So this whole idea of involving their marriage and the fact that he chose his wife over his duty or whatever is complete horse hockey. It is complete and utter bullspit. It is absolutely infuriating to me because we know that Ben would never leave Kira. Ben would never leave Dax. You don't abandon your away team. You don't leave them there to die. You find other ways. And that's just the truth. The guy, the Cardi knew he was taking a risk. So this whole setup, this big weird admonishment at the end is just bizarre. And we know this betrays the ethics of Star Trek and defies, it flies in the face of our intelligence, as we know that there isn't a single person who's on that bridge crew who would abandon any other bridge crew member on a planet. That is just complete and utter horse shit. Sorry, I don't like to use profanity on air, but that's dumb. That's dumb. That's dumb.
And he left her and went a long way and then came back. He should have never left her if he was going to do that.
Exactly.
Hey, Mr. Angel, what's up, Chef? Good to see you. You know what I mean?
Yep. Evening, Chef. Yeah. And for me, like, the reason why I find it so preposterous is because I've been watching Star Trek for 45 years of my life. Okay. You know that Kirk doesn't leave Spock. Spock doesn't leave McCoy. You know that Picard doesn't leave Beverly, and Beverly doesn't leave Geordi, and Geordi doesn't leave Worf. And so in this iteration, the fact that Jadzia is Worf's wife is immaterial. It has no relevance here. And the fact that Sisko goes on this big, spiel where he admonishes him for saving his wife and not going and getting this spy is complete and utter horse crap. That has nothing to do with Starfleet ethics. Nothing to do with it whatsoever. Odo would never leave Kira. Kira would never leave Dax. Dax would never leave a Ferengi. She wouldn't leave Quark. So it's crap. It's crap. They try and make it seem like it's about their marriage. It's not about their marriage. And the person who wrote this, I'll give you the name of the person who wrote this, has no idea, no understanding of the brotherhood that Gene Roddenberry created with these characters. Okay, Uhura would never leave Captain Kirk, even if it meant that she got to live. She would cry. She didn't even want him to be upset. Never mind abandon him, leave him somewhere. That would never happen. Scotty would never let that happen. So the person who wrote this is Ronald D. Moore, and he obviously has no understanding of the brotherhood that Gene Roddenberry instilled in this IP, in this particular creation called Star Trek. That's not the way it works.
Yepper, absolutely. So what is your rating of A Change of Fart?
It's a D.
I agree. I also have it at a damn D. It's a D'er. And I probably could have gone lower, but it's Garbaggio for me. All right, everybody. Let fly with those ratings and reviews. Make it so. Engage and go for it. And all that
Princess
stuff.
Fiona says, I wouldn't have left my dog. But one of the coolest messages of all in this entire conversation that we're having with all these marvelous people in the chat, HB knows Lola's bark. The difference between Lola and Paco's bark. That was Lola, HB. Anyways, fire at will, everyone.
But the thing is, he left her and then went back.
I know it's
Because
awful.
if you started out carrying her, who knows? But then there's phony drama. Then you can't have that because then he doesn't have to get dressed down by Cisco at that point.
Yeah.
So
it just makes Worf look like I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. DS9 was a way of ruining the Worf character, just like they ruined the Odo character. They build him up to tear him down, and they turned Worf into an idiot. And Worf isn't an idiot. And so, yeah, I don't like it. No, I don't like it. That man should have carried his wife out of there. Because I'll tell you something. If Worf had been in the jungle with Cisco, he would have put Cisco over his shoulder and carried Cisco out of the jungle. This whole thing about, he had to abandon her because it was his duty as a Starfleet officer to leave his wife that's just stupid. Those trappings are dumb. Dumb.
Yep. So here, Michael Beacom says D. Renee Cavera and Alan Eastman owe everyone an apology for this one. Change the names, and this could belong to any one of a half dozen Earthbound crime shows. Yawn. They also owe one to Quentin Tarantino and Reservoir Dogs from the Put Spaceships in it and its science fiction school of lazy writing. Scoured the companion, but they didn't admit to the idea theft. Oh, okay. I thought there was another one. Thank you, Michael Beacom. Eric K. Just loved this episode. Not. He said he gave it an F. He said, so Dax and I think it's Dax and Worf make around 2K.
No, I'm sorry. That's the stupid chat did it to me again. And I knew it was going to do it to me. That time when I hit the star, it hit it as show.
Did it again.
Yeah, I know. It's making me nuts.
Yeah. So make around, let's see, Dax and Worf make around 2 kilometers in 2 days. And they had 17. You can hit me with math, dude. Are you kidding me? Come on, Eric, dude. 17.9 Cam to go still. What were they doing all that time? Worf, carry her back and go alone. You should be able to get to the meeting place. That's what I'm saying. They make it look like he went off for forever and then decided, no, I got to go back and get her. You wasted time like an idiot. Just carry her. Just tell her I'm carrying you. or don't, but do one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
You know,
Starships of Greatness just walks through the door. Everybody say hello to Starships of Greatness.
Hey, Starships of Greatness. Good to see you. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Sorry. Where were I? Okay. And back in a day alone. Neither one should ever command even a sanitation barge if this is the way they use the time.
Yeah.
Both need a court martial. Worf does not use the cloak, and now this. Yeah.
Disappointing.
JT Kirk says, F-. This episode is dead, Captain Clubby. This smells of Ronald D. Moore. Well, you called it. You called it.
He was right.
Penalizing Worf against future and command posting. Are you fracking serious? These people are not spec.
Yeah.
Just stop it already. Yeah.
Right? It's like when they tried to turn Picard into a spy. What? Why?
It's so stupid.
Why?
Yeah.
Picard? Spy? Are you kidding me?
Dave G. Sound says, C. I like when Dax gets injured so she cannot pull a Dax move. That means she can't spend the entire episode getting the last word in verbal dress downs before turning around and smugly storming off. Wow.
Right, Dave?
Not a Dax fan, are you? Shooter says, D-. Miles, a man after my own heart, if his drink of choice is anything to go by. And Jadzia wrapped in that fur blanket. Oh, yeah. The episode starts strong, but that's about it. Hang on, let's see. Where's the next one is? Hang on. Worf and Jadzia should never have been allowed to go behind enemy lines together as a married couple because of exactly what happens here. No military would allow this. Another salient point. The B story is more engaging with the Broken Hearts Club ending. Overall, it just isn't that interesting. The best point is the Cardassian defector. A focus on him would have been better. Well, yeah, it would have been better. Yeah.
Boss man, Dave G.
Yes,
Sound just wants you to know that he doesn't buy their relationship. He says, she does that in almost every episode. And guess who just walked through the door?
Yeah.
Dead Man in the Dead Man Clan!
Dead Man!
Dun, 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 dun.
What's up, buddy? Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. And shout out to the Dead Man Clan. Let's see here. Princess Fiona says D-.
Yeah.
Thank you, Princess. Let's see here. Where are we at?
I love that human.
Simply Steve. Yeah, she's amazing. We love you, Princess. I'm so glad you're here. Simply Steve says F. The Worf Dax Warmance takes a hit. Subplot, oh no, dumb Bashir returns and had to be coached by O'Brien. Did the Dominion withdraw and have nothing else to do? Best time to attack is now. By the way, that was another point I didn't think to mention earlier. The crap with them playing Tongo and Quark messing with Bashir's head about being in love with Jadzia. Like that, I thought that's minor at best, thing that never even was a thing at all between Bashir and Dax was something that he got over a long time ago. They're just friends. It's like you could get into Bashir's head that easy. I thought really stupid.
Yeah, and he's supposed to be like this genius who's like a cross between Spock and Data in some episodes and like a Pac-Led in the next episode. And what's worse is that Quark has admitted previously in like on the down low in a conversation with, I believe it's Kira Nerys, that he is completely head over heels in love with Jadzia Dax.
Oh yeah,
yeah, so it's just so weird. It's like, like what's going on here in this episode? Like, what is this episode about? And I'm so sick of the love boat. Love boat.
Yep, this just sucks. Hunger Boy says D+. Why are Dax and Worf emulating a bad episode of Moonlighting. And by the way, that would be the later season because the first 3 seasons of Moonlighting are great. I love that show.
Mm-hmm.
Romancing the Stone was fine in 1984. Yeah, great movie. I love that movie too.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't need a sci-fi redux with less plot. Yes, sir.
Right?
Good pernt. Good pernt, sir.
HB's just nailing them tonight.
Michael Beacom says D-. Change of heart? What the heck was that? What a piece of... Oh, wait. Jadzia throws her clothes at Worf. I take it back. Brilliant episode. Seriously, Starfleet intelligence isn't.
Right.
Niceness. Kal-El. This is a rare moment here, folks. You don't see these from the great Super Wrench Kal-El that often, so it's interesting. Yeah. F-. He really loves it.
Wow.
This episode should have been called Dax and Worf, The New Adventures Aboard DS9, since it seems that some of Lois and Clark's writers found their way to DS9 to write this episode. While I realize, that the discussions between Dax and Worf stem from what a married couple might discuss from time to time, I didn't sign up for a Star Trek marriage counseling episode, and I could have, easily done without this.
Mm-hmm.
You and me both, buddy. It's understandable and admirable, though, that Worf shows his loyalty to someone he cares for. But realistically, he wouldn't have been put in this situation in the first place. Sure. Even the B plot with Bashir and O'Brien was disappointing, since for all his genetically enhanced intelligence, Bashir still fell for the emotionally manipulative tactic that Quark... It was so dumb, wasn't it?
Yes.
That Quark used against him. Not since Dax and Worf's wedding episode have I been so disinterested in watching an episode of Star Trek DS9 or otherwise.
Right?
Well said, buddy. I don't blame you one bit, man. Wolfie says, rating D, change of fart. Dax was a great Dax was a great character. It's sad to see her die here. The part where she wakes up at the end is a typo.
Yeah. Well, she didn't want to wake up. Wolfie's right.
Nope. Oh, Princess Fiona's got another one. I'm sorry, I didn't see that one. Contrived drama, a contrived story, and contrived character development. Such bad writing. This really felt like a Klutzmann-Dreck. And again, with a ridiculously stupid setup. Covert meeting in 2300s. Lol, indeed. I think she gave it a...
Take a bow, baby. Take a bow.
She gave it a D-. Sorry about that. I didn't see that one. It was
home run after home run from Her Royal Highness.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Princess Fiona. I'm sorry I didn't see that. Okay. Enigmatic Drop Bear says D. Another Ron Moore nothing burger.
Right.
Heavy on the drama, light to the point of non-existent on science fiction. Yep. As usual, he skillfully takes us on a circuitous route to nowhere. I can't stand Ronald anymore. Everyone loves his.
I love Edie. Edie is he's a gem. He's a diamond. I love this human being.
At least he could have given us some new intel on the founders inhabiting the Alpha Quadrant, or the rescue could have been successful. Anything. The Tongo B story was similarly banal. Quark's manipulation of Bashir was simply not believable.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Lemon pie.
Lemon pie's here?
Yes, just walked through the door.
Good to see you, Lemon Pie. Thank you for popping in. Fanty Outside, he says, D. There's only 2 characters in Star Trek that would have, could have, should have been abandoned. Not for duty, but because they really deserve to be abandoned. Wesley and Keiko. You're welcome, everyone. Smiles.
I don't know about that, Fanty. What about, where are you?
Ooh.
Counselor Camel Toe. Just kidding.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
Just kidding.
Maybe she does too. Also, you'd think Worf would have had access to the runabout, having Dax use an emergency beam back to the ship and its more advanced medical bay, but these writers stink. Yeah, phony drama, I call it. Mr. Angel, the chef, says, F from frack this episode. No, just no. This episode made me cringe in its stupidity.
That's an excellent review.
Sean Carter says D for me. Let's see here. The forced decision dilemma is a good mechanism, but was done poorly here, especially when Worf flip flopped. The story would have been much better if Worf made a decision and stuck with it. And dealt with the consequences. More chickened out and tried to play both sides. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Sean Carter. And the final review of the night goes to the great Chief Engineer Mark D with a C. Pop in when you feel like it, dude.
Yeah, come
If
on
you hear
in.
me, come on in. He says, D-. Starfleet is okay with leaving people behind. Shin kicks. Worf would never leave any member of his crew to die, let alone his wife.
Right?
Why only send 2 officers and no other commandos are available?
And they're not even special ops.
Yeah, that's so true. So absolutely. So dumb. Plus, don't they have a way to travel through the jungle in a faster manner in the 24th century? Still no hoverboards. They can't heal a wound. Yeah, it's
and
just,
not only that,
so
why
dumb.
wouldn't you adjust the medical equipment for the anticoagulant? You know the Jemadar is using that technology, so why would you send them to a planet?
So ridiculous.
Like, hello?
So dumb.
Yeah, and she's a science officer who's lived like 600 years. Don't you think she should have said, well, the Jemadar are using anticoagulant on the surface, so I'm going to adjust these medical provisions to counteract anticoagulant. I mean, come on. 600 years?
It's just, yeah, I don't know. It made no sense. Let's see. We have bandages today with coagulants and you can buy at Walmart. Quick Clot, one of my buddies that works for the company. Wow. Well, there you go.
I love Mark D with a C. Mark D with a C.
The shipping of Dax and Worf has always been a failure, and this episode is one more nail in the coffin. P.S. The B plot sucks too. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
No
you mean Genius learns how to play Tongo? It's so dumb. Hey, you can come over to my house and I'll teach you how to play euchre. You want to learn how to play euchre? Is that actually a story? No, it's not. No, it's not.
Hey, Scotty. R37, hello there. Ahoy. Let's see. Oh, right. Well, we did it. I think we got them all. Looks like we got them all handled.
I think Scotty gave this episode an A+. I'll just put that up on the marquee. That just came in late, but I'll put that up on the marquee. There you go.
Okay.
It says I meant A+. So he
okay. Thank you, Scotty.
Episode. Thank you.
I think if he's referring to this episode, that was a change of heart for Scotty there. Okay.
And you just received a gift from the great Bronze Wrencher himself, father of Kerbalicious Kirby, Eric K.
All right, buddy. Let's see. Thank you so much, Eric K. I appreciate that, buddy. He says, Raquel, member in all her lives, she has only had basic med training once.
I know, 600
that was a quote.
years. She's a science officer who has been alive for more than 600 years, and she only has basic med training.
Oh, what's up, dude?
Oh, we have science.
Oh, doing
science.
good.
Science alert. Science alert. Science alert. Look on the marquee.
What? Who? How? What? When? What?
Yes, that's true too. Yeah, and
okay, I can't even pronounce
super glue you can use to. They do use something like that. Actually,
basically, super glue is also an emergency wound closure. I hope I said that right.
Yeah, that sounds good enough.
Not on Deep Space Nine, apparently.
Yep. Dave G. Sound. Well, you are the hero of the evening. See what happens when you do a little research and you add some science. Science.
Not on Deep Space Nine, apparently.
Yeah, well, Scoutmaster, quick minute, quick cloud. just that my buddy works for that company, but I always keep that in my kit or my backpack or my car. You can buy it relatively cheap, and it's used for, unfortunately, catastrophic cuts but God forbid you ever need to use it, and it's used by the U.S. military. Now you can buy it. So check it out. It's called Quick Clot, and I recommend everyone have some, or just similar ones. But hey, my buddy works for that company. He's a Coast Guard vet and got a job there. So, but it's saved a lot of lives, and it's got an anticoagulant in the bandage, so it's more than just a standard bandage. So it does a fantastic job for first aid. God forbid, knock on wood, I've had to use it, but I always have one in my backpack. Scout is always prepared. So
that's what I'm telling.
Scoutmaster Minute.
No, gotcha. That's what I'm telling. Kalel, I see what you wrote there. Yeah, thank you for that. He was adding something from an earlier episode we were talking about. Thank you.
And Princess Fiona is also saying, that there's Dermabond. Like even a mom, even like a regular soccer mom knows about Dermabond.
Yep. Well, that was just the for the episode, quote unquote,
right.
Give them a reason, plot, a MacGuffin for the episode.
Please give us science.
The whole episode
Stop screwing around. Just give us science. Science.
Yeah.
Total fail. Yeah, total fail. And they don't work well together too. Those two characters, right? Oh, sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, I'm just telling Kalel that I got his mail. I didn't want to think I didn't get his message. What he was telling me. Okay, what now? Who?
Well, just
whatever.
Well, that relationship never works either, too. So it's such Worf and Dak. To me, in my opinion, it's never contrived. I mean, maybe some people like it, but it just didn't make sense to me. So there's missing that emotion there, between the two characters.
Yeah, I don't like it either. Never.
You see what they're trying to do, but they only send 2 people on the mid. You don't have more, and they're sending those two, not
those
commandos.
So dumb. But no, I'm not much of a shipper anyway. But even I can see they're throughout fiction, whatever it is, they're relationships that you just kind of like as a fan of whatever characters. And other ones you go, why those two don't work together? There's something crappy about them. You can't stand it.
Yeah.
For example,
sorry, I was just going to say, I think Dave G. Sound pointed out something that a lot of science fiction fans feel when they're watching it, and that is that these two people are constantly arguing and fighting, and it doesn't appear that they ever make up. It always appears that she, says something really snotty and cruel to him because they're diametrically opposed on nearly every single thing in their life. And then she just storms off. So, I think that a lot of people are I don't know, there have been times that I have watched DS9 where I was warm to this idea, but since it's been a long time, since 1998, and you develop a relationship with these folks, and I just don't think it works. And I agree with Dave G. Sound when you're different every time you watch Star Trek. If you rewatch Star Trek the way we all do as Trekkies, we're different every time. If you are the same person you were when you were 20 years old, if you're the same person you were when you were 30 years old, not only do you need to get out more, but you're definitely not a nerd or a geek, because nerds and geeks are constantly looking to self-actualize. They're constantly looking to be edified. So I understand when nerds and geeks have different relationships with the iterations or with the same iteration, and they've been watching it over and over again, and because they're a different person when they're watching it. But there are, as you get older, you realize, wow, that is a really difficult relationship, and it doesn't really seem to have any golden moments. There doesn't really need to, there isn't really any indication that these two people find joy in one another other than BDSM. It seems as though that's the joke. That's the BDSM, ha ha ha. And the rest of the time, it's like Dave G. Sound said. She says something horribly mean to him. They don't get along, and she storms off. So anyway, I agree with you, Claudia. I agree. Sorry, go ahead, boss. Sorry.
Zachariah. Just want to say hello to Zachariah.
Zachariah.
Hey, good to see you. Doggies. The dogs agree as well.
Yes.
Oh, we love the doggies.
So
sorry, guys.
Don't be sorry about that. Boy, I heard when I first heard, I'm like, oh, the kids next door let the dogs out this late. Like, oh no, that's the dog. Oh, it's so cute. It's so cute.
Yeah, we love it.
So don't worry.
Well, there you go. We've I don't know how much more we got to go for this season, but we've got
Not
4
very
more
many.
episodes next week.
Yep.
So starts getting close to the end of. We're not too far off from the end of season 6 now. We're getting through it. I think we got a little bit of ways to go, but
Mm.
they could get less bumpy, any less bumpy. I'm sure.
Was it DJ Ronnie G who was saying last week, or was it the week before? DJ Ronnie G was saying, like, when are we going to get some traction? Like, we're heading to the end here, and we want it to go out with a big bang. We want it to be great. We want some beautiful episodes so that we have this glorious parting gift, and we can feel good about this journey that we've gone on for these 7 seasons. And he was just, I believe it was DJ Ronnie G who was saying, like it's just so unsatisfying when they continually leave us without the science fiction. It doesn't feel like Star Trek. We keep getting all of these situation comedies, romantic comedies, spy games. Everybody doesn't want to be their character. Is this how it's going to end? I'm not going to leave any spoilers, but I just wanted to say I really like that. I believe it was DJ Ronnie G who said that we're getting near the end, and as true Trekkies, we want it to go out with a glorious bang. We want it to be great. We want it to be great, but we'll have to see how it shapes up.
Yes, we will have to see how that works out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we keep mentioning that, DS9, I think, as we've said, I personally really love these characters and the actors, but it's that slice of life on a space station. That's kind of what you're going to get, but I'd rather see exploring. So that's why I love that the little ship episode tonight. Just such a breath of fresh air. I'm like, sci-fi premise. They're getting shrunk down. It's kind of a kooky, funny episode, but they had fun with it, and at least it was something different happening. And but maybe certain people probably love the drama and the intrigue and the characters together, and the Dominion War. It just depends on what you like, but it's that slice of life in Star Trek that you probably would get on the space station. And they introduced the wormhole, but they didn't really go as far enough as I thought they could have with exploring the Gamma Quadrant, unfortunately. So, but on the whole, the characters are great, and you get some good episodes, but you get a lot of clunkers too, and especially watching these back to back to back. I think maybe people are rating it a little bit higher. Maybe they just on nostalgia factor or loving the characters. I don't know. That's just one of my guesses.
If the surveys are to be believed, and there are lots of surveys out there, lots of academic surveys, professional surveys, and informal surveys. Apparently the public is of the opinion, I'm not saying this is geeks and nerds, but I'm just saying this is the public. They're of the opinion that the reason why they love DS9 so much is because, and I quote, it is the most un-Star Trek of all of the Star Trek. So they find it very accessible. They don't find it, too sciencey. There's no, the real Star Trek TOS is esoteric. It's going after hard science. It's going after high-minded concepts. I mean, it introduced me in my life to Spinoza, for God's sake. There's a big difference between Quark teaching Tango and reaching into Spinoza. So, it's about accessibility. And I think a lot of people like DS9. I don't think a lot of people like DS9. If the polls and the surveys are to be believed, people report that they like DS9 because it is the most un-Star Trek. They like that about it. It's accessibility, non-sciencey, not esoteric, not nerdy, not geeky. But I love this coming from Princess Fiona. Listen to this. Isn't this gorgeous? Michael Dorn and Susie Plaxton would have given us a big bang. I believed in that relationship. I totally agree. She should have been a
100%.
reoccurring character. Then the BDSM would have been hysterically funny, and yeah, it would have been great. Would have been great. Anyway,
Such a shame they killed off your character, huh?
I thank you, Dad Man Wonky, for the super chat, buddy. Good to see you. Says always feel smarter and learn things being here. Thanks, thank you. And I'm the same way with Raquel here. I always learn things. And Admiral Teague, hey buddy, I do absolutely agree with you that it feels like the new Drek filth writers, people saw how dark and weird DS9 got and took all the wrong lessons. That's a very good point because they love to use that as their excuse when they get too dark and too idiotic. So a good point, Admiral. Yeah, absolutely.
And it was actually referenced in that stuff, which we won't talk about anymore.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, episode 3 or 5. I can't remember.
A couple of episodes was yeah.
Sick. I hate the filth.
Filth is
so bad.
Yep. So well, look, we got through 4 more though. Wasn't easy. Never is.
Got
really.
through 4 more.
You'll have a lot more fun when you get to Voyager, I'm sure. Well, no.
Save the lizards.
And you know what though?
I like Voyager. I like Voyager.
I'll tell you this much. I don't think it's got the greatest set of characters in the world, but we'll be talking. We won't have to spend a lot of time talking about something not being, at least not even having anything to do with science fiction. You might say, this was supposed to be science fiction, but it got too fantasy-like or this and the other. But it's not about war as much.
Nope.
It's not always just character stuff as much. Usually they have. I mean, it is about more like adventures and ideas. I mean, that'd be great, but. Yeah, I mean, anyway, who knows?
Well, I will say this, that there have been
we'll find out when we get there.
When I've tried to explain to normies that Voy borrows a lot of its its ideas, its content, idea content for meeting aliens and experiencing new strange forms of life, that they really borrow a lot of the best of TNG and some of TOS. And so I love that you're saying that, Club, because it's true. Like, say what you will, but an attempt is made, and let's not reveal our cards here.
Yeah. We got a long way to go.
But I will say, babe, you are my Star Trek soulmate, and I totally agree with you there. And I know exactly what you're getting at without revealing your full hand of cards. Yep, I got you, honey.
We're not that far off from Voyager.
Yeah, and Enterprise does the same thing too. They really go all out with some interesting aliens that you've never seen on some of the NU. Trek,
it's way more like
we say?
I love Ent.
Yeah.
I love Ent, and I know that Gene Roddenberry would have loved Ent as well. And look at this generous gift you just received.
Thank you,
from
Wolfie. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Wolfie says, Wolfie's shipped facts. If you take the saucer section of the Enterprise D and slap it on another Galaxy-class star drive section, no boy, it does not make it the Enterprise D, no matter how many decals you change. Tell that to that idiot Terry Mattel ass. I can't tell him because I'm blocked, but you can tell him. See, badge of honor, folks. Blocked by a punk.
Yeah, it was the star drive from the Syracuse, and they actually had the decals of the Syracuse on the rear section. So at least they did put that on. So it's not even the D. You're right. I mean,
the Syracuse.
And that saucer section was totally destroyed. I mean, imagine the resource it would have taken to rebuild that. I mean, and make it fully functioning again. I mean, that's just. But
Mark,
anyway,
it's the
do you see poor Wolfie commiserating with you? Can you actually hear his voice?
Yes,
I can hear his voice in the following comment. I'll put it up on the marquee. Look at this.
The intercuse.
Look at that.
Yeah.
You could actually hear his disappointment. I cannot believe they did that.
I think that's what I heard.
Poor Wolfie, honey. I love you, Wolfie. Sorry.
To hell with them. That's not Trek anyway.
Yeah, because I was trying to remember, like,
Trek around here.
The star drive section blow up in Generations.
Totally burned up. Yeah, they
destroyed. Yeah, I was like, what?
They just crashed the saucer.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty bad
poor Shooter. Shooter just poor Shooter.
Like a Shooter says, is that what happened in Picard? Yes, it is. That's what happened at the end of Picard season 3. They Geordi salvaged the saucer from Veridian 3, but they added a completely different bottom.
Oh wow.
USS Syracuse, yeah.
Thank you, JT Kirk. He says, I really enjoyed the 7TO. Oh yeah. the 1701D Falcon making a Deathborg Cube 2 run in PRT Season 3, Episode 10, Return of the Picard Eye. That was so stupid that a Galaxy-class starship could fit inside of a Borg cube. Yes, everyone, just like the scene in Rehash of the Jedi with the Falcon. So, yeah, it's we won't. You got to stop bringing up the filth because this is our.
But there is that. Do you see my Beach Boys? Someone set that to the Beach Boys. That was
I have not watched the filth because I have
I forgot
dignity
I should have put that in
and
there for you.
I don't want to pollute my soul. But I did watch that video you sent me, and I laughed so hard I cried.
Yeah, it's so funny.
That's a Galaxy-class starship, and folks, you realize that a Galaxy-class starship holds about 1,053 people, I believe it is, and can, in times of great need, sustain at least 1,200 people. I believe it is the number. It might be 1,300, but they can take on several hundred people in addition to the around 1,000 staff members and their family and officers and military personnel on that ship. Imagine what it would be like. Oh, it's just so dumb. I could not watch that. That would actually lower your IQ just watching it. Just watching it.
Yeah. It's too big
Just
to be a
put the
space
link
station.
in. So Stephen, if you want to watch that, people are asking. Stephen was asking.
You can link.
I put the link in.
I can't show it.
Obviously can't play it. No, that would be Nuke City. But yeah, it's just actually that scene works with the Beach Boys.
What we can do though.
As good as your word.
Aye, sir. The more they overthink the plumbing, the easier it is to stop up the drain.
And they probably redesigned the whole sick bay, too.
He tasks me. He tasks me, and I shall have him.
I wanted to mention too.
Agonizer.
The Defiant.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, boss. I just wanted to mention too that I saw on some website, with some user-generated website, that somebody was saying that Worf said kilometer wrong because it's supposed to be kilometer.
Kilometer, yeah.
That's horse crap. I'm from Canada, and we use kilometer and kilometer interchangeably. I believe both are in the dictionary. So that's another one of those user-generated BS things. Most of the Canadians that you meet will say kilometer, not kilometer. That's a fact, Jack.
You should have said Calicams like the Klingons do. So
yeah.
Calicams.
Calicams. I have had enough of you.
Yep. Oh, well, we should do it right. We got to get to it, though. Got to find it.
Got to find it, yeah.
I have had enough of you!
Or was.
Why are you doing it?
I protest. I am not a merry man.
This freaking StreamYard pisses me off sometimes. You can't press a go-around button.
No bloody A, B, C, or D.
Yada, yada.
It actually works better, I think, when that happens too. Obviously, sorry about that, but
It goes chip, 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 like yeah. Well, my friends, I want to thank you all for being here with us tonight. It's been fantastic. About time we let you all go get some sleep, I guess. You've been amazing. I want to thank everyone, by the way, who lurked and who was here lurking and or is catching this later on a download or a rewatch. I cannot thank you enough. I really appreciate it. Sometimes I just slips my mind. Please, if you would be so kind, just hit that like button. Only if you liked it. If you didn't like it, then you can put the unlike and I'll understand. But if you hit the like button, I'd appreciate that. And if you have not subscribed, I would ask you for your subscription. Again, I don't usually do that either, but in those weird moods where I actually remembered. But yeah. Oh, there you go, Ed. That's right. I forgot about that. But I want to thank you all for being here with us tonight. It's been so much fun. You guys are the best. Just the Saturday Star Trek is special for me because of all of you, and of course, the most wonderful first officer in the fleet. So I will go out and turn now over to my amazing first officer and ask if you have any closing words.
Boss man, I love you very much. It's always an honor to appear here with you. Yes, most certainly I do have some thanks to give. The first thing I want to do is I want to thank every single person who participated in this conversation tonight. You are all so wonderful, just articulate, insightful, hilarious, caring, beautiful people, and I enjoy your company immensely, and so does the captain, and most certainly so does Mark. We love you guys. We're nothing without you, and you guys continually bring these amazing conversations to light, and we're honored to host these conversations. So thank you one and all for your amazing reviews and for your wonderful conversations. And I also have to thank you for the gifts. Okay. My captain, he's basically retired. He used to own a comic book shop. And so what you're doing is when you're giving those gifts to him, you are facilitating his virtual comic book shop. And I think it's great. I think it's absolutely wonderful. And so I thank you for doing that. I love to see it. It's so generous. It's so kind. It's so thoughtful. And each and every one of you should be thanked for that. So thank you for those gifts. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to share this channel. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you can keep coming back, because we want to see you and we want to talk to you and we want to showcase your ideas and your conversations. So thank you. And I want to thank the wrenches, the unsung heroes of YouTube. And we have some of the biggest, best, most popular, powerful wrenches on YouTube today. And yet they come here and hang out with us and they love us, even though we're nobodies. I love you guys. Thank you for all the work you do. You don't get paid to do it. And yet you come here, you're charming, caring, helpful. You're promoting us. You guys are the best. You are the damn best. I just love you. And I have a new book coming out. And I'm an independent author because sci-fi is a teeny tiny little genre. And I have a group of people who are facilitating my new book. They're helping me. They're my patrons. And I want to call them out because I love them and care about them very much. That is Larry, Tony Stark, Sean Carter, Cardinal Sin, Shooter, Chris Persia, Scuba Pete, and Leslie Pete, Eric K, and Kirby the Magnificent. Enigmatic Drop Bear, Michael and Cassandra Beacom, Mark D with the C, Jilly Jill, Maximum Redstone, and of course, JJ Kirk. And last but certainly not least, I want to thank my captain. Captain, thank you so much for creating this space, for bringing us all together. You are the grand poobah of all of geekdom, and none of us would know one another without you. You are the glue that brings us all together, and I adore you. I love your company. I had such a great time with you again tonight. And I want to thank Mark D with the C. Don't forget to follow Mark D with the C. He is a talented, wonderful person. He is our friend in real life. He has a YouTube channel. He's on Twitter. He also is a very talented maker, and he's on Patreon. So get his info and follow him as well. And I think that just about does it for me, everyone. I'm going to shut up now and let the boss get down to business.
Well, thank you so much. Number one, love you. You're too kind. Appreciate you. And of course, we also have the great chief engineer, Mark D with a C. Dude, any final words before we get out of here?
Definitely. Yep, I'll be short, but yeah, thank you for having me. I always love hanging out on these shows, and the chat was amazing tonight. Despite some couple of clunkers in there in terms of the episodes, but that doesn't matter because God, we have fun tonight. Princess Fiona, it's great to meet your acquaintance, and you've
Good to
added
see
a
you,
lot to
Princess.
the. So one of us, yeah, you're stuck with us now, but yeah, we really appreciate that. I'd like to make sure everyone saw the Patreon link for Raquel. So if you can go support her, go purchase her book, or throw a couple of bucks as a way to say thank you. And thank you for mentioning my Patreon, Raquel. Shooter, shout out to Shooter and Brian Hepburn, my first two Patreons. So there'll be a way to get my Doomsday Machine in a few weeks. I've been printing up a bunch of them and spray painting them. So I had a whole stack of Doomsday machines lined up in my shop today. It's kind of, I got to post that. It's kind of scary to see that. Hopefully the Galaxy will survive. But
and he has videos. If you want to see how he makes these things, go to his channel, sub his channel. You have to see his Doomsday machines. You guys, they are dead sexy. Like, this is cherry merchandise. This is not some, Bush League thing he's got going on. He makes beautiful things from Star Trek. This guy is super talented. Go see the videos. Follow him on Patreon. It is so exciting what he's doing. The guy made a Doomsday machine for a bunch of nerds and geeks. He's awesome sauce.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And I did hit 666 subs, which is awesome.
Cool.
I love that, but I'm also a Catholic school kid, so could someone in the
So we need one more.
so I'm not stuck at
You have to move up a little
666
bit. Yeah.
or someone on sub.
Please go sub to Mark's channel if you haven't, everybody.
Yeah, I don't want to be stuck at 666. I got to go to confession tomorrow.
There's a link in my description below, but you also put it on the end of the chat. Maybe somebody can knock you over that one there.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yep. And Sunday Night Geekery tomorrow night, and I'm sure you'll be there, Clobbering Times, and we'll talk about all the fun stuff that happened this week. And sometimes we end up actually talking about food. You never know. Barbecue, whatever. You never know. But wherever the chat takes us. But looking forward to that tomorrow night. So thank you very much, everyone. And Mr. Angel Q's theme music from The Omen. I'm going to sleep tonight.
No, don't scare Mark.
Well, everybody, hey, thank you so much for being here. Quick show notes, and we'll do our shout outs here. Of course, tomorrow night, as Mark said, the Sunday Night Geekery on his channel, 10 p.m. Eastern. Please join us for that. We have a lot of fun geeking out. Mondays, I actually do 2 shows on Mondays. Now, one on my buddy J-Man's show. We're going to be, for comics fans out there, we're going to be reviewing the entire run of the Silver and Bronze Age Legion of Superheroes, starting from the very beginning of all their appearances in order. And with J-Man and Sean, that's, I want to say 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern. And then, of course, my usual Monday night Mark C. Comics Talk show at 9 p.m. I do 4 shows on this channel a week. Monday night Mark C. Comics Talk, which, of course, is, what do you think it's about? Comics, of course. Duh, right? And then I have a very special one. Usually Wildcard Wednesday night can be anybody's show. But this week it's a special. The great D. Bud Martin joins me for a Clobby's Classic Comics review, Iron Man number 6, which I'm looking forward to reviewing that with him. The great D. Bud is the Iron Man expert for the ages, and he is extraordinary, so I can't wait for that. And then please join us on Thursday nights for Clobby's Clubhouse. Our friends right here, my wonderful first officer and the chief engineer, Raquel and Mark, join me. We talk all things geek. We review Tales of Tomorrow and UFO, and we talk other just Star Trek and all kind of fun. And so we just have a lot of fun on that. And of course, as you all know, every Saturday night, it is Saturday Night Star Trek. We have 4 more episodes. Next week, same Trek time, same Clobby channel. And let's shout out our wonderful friends who have been here with us tonight. First of all, with our wrenches, we've got, of course, the great Eric K., the Bronze Wrencher. Thank you so much, buddy, for what you do. Appreciate you. And, of course, the great Chris Persia, the Vindicator Wrench of the North. The aforementioned great D. Bud Martin, the Wrench of Iron. Lord Thoth, always Avon lives, long live the Legion, buddy, and shout out to Lady Thoth, the great J-Man, Hungry Boy, Kal-El, Maddie's Daddy, and of course, Fanty Outsidey. Now, let us shout out all of you, because on Saturday nights, you are so special to this show and so special to this channel, and to Raquel and myself. We'd like to make sure everybody gets a shout out, whether they're still here or not, when they show up and when they leave. Needless to say, our great crew, Mark D with a C, our wonderful friend Anti-Derivative Jill, who is the Chief of Communications, and our Chief of Security LT. Also, Shooter. Thank you for being here, Shooter. Appreciate you, buddy. The Felicianos, Sandra, and Raymond, King Dolphin TV in color. Brian Hepburn, thank you so much for being here tonight. Dave G. Sound, thank you. Classic Comics, thank you for being here. Let's see here. Who was Simply Steve, buddy? Thank you so much, man. J.T. Kirk, thank you. Lisa, the lovely Lisa. Always great to have you here, Lisa. Thank you so much. Let's see. Pleasant Valley Picker was here earlier. Whether you're here or not, you still get the shout out. Michael Beacom with a shout out to the lovely Cassandra. Hungry boy, buddy. Oh, I shouted you out, but you got another one because you deserve it. It was good hanging out with you at the next show, by the way. SP4H. John Rupish, Ruggy. Enigmatic Drop Bear. ED, thank you so much. Always great to see you, my friend. I hope you were doing well. Darius Munchausen, so glad to see you pop in. Thank you so much. Mr. Tickle Trunk, thanks for being here, my friend. Great to see you. Admiral Teague, hey, buddy. Good to see you there. Keep up the faith, man. Right there with you. You know, some of us have to keep fighting the good fight. There's so few of us left fighting against fake Drek. Captain James T. Skywalker. Minimus Prime was here. The lovely, lovely Katie Dax was here. Love you, Katie. And I called him Scuba Pete. And a shout out to Leslie. Princess Fiona, again, thank you so much for being here, my dear. It's great to meet you. Hey, pop by the clubhouse on Thursday night sometimes, Princess. We have a lot of fun on that too. So if you get a chance, same time. Sean Carter
of Mars.
Parker Luck. I can't remember all the other was all. I didn't write the whole thing down because I couldn't remember it all. But I'll just go. Parker Luck. Thank you so much for being here. I can't remember. I'm sorry I couldn't remember the whole thing. It was a big long sentence. J. Picasso. Anonymous. Rhea Lovey. It was Lavi, I think. I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong. I apologize. I hadn't seen her before. Rhea, thank you. Cavicino, Caviman Shea. Tim Hayes. Phantom Boomer. Snail Messiah. Hey, Snail.
Is Phantom Boomer related to Phantom Outsider?
No. DJ
Okay,
Ronnie G. Well, you have to check.
I'd check, yep.
Cardinal Sin. Gil, buddy, thank you so much, bud. Good. I hope you're doing great, buddy. Stunt Brat 777 Smith. Love you, Stunt. Wolfie. Claude Selling. Thank you. Midnight's Oblivion. Great to see you. Michelle Shannon. Thank you. York Johansson, used formerly. Neurodinax Amanda Bear. Captain Infinity and Beyond. Mr. Angel. Yo, Chef. Hope you're doing well, sir. Starships of Greatness. Dad Band Walk again. The Dad Band Clan. Lemon Pie. Scotty. R37. And Zacharot. Thank you. And anyone else out there who's listening, like I said, either on a download or a rewatch, or if you're just lurking, we love you. We appreciate you. And a big shout out, in case you hear this later or whatever, Terrell72. We haven't seen you around in a while. We hope you're lurking somewhere out there. Either way, we hope you're doing well. And we hope you're doing well. And anybody else out there that we don't get, whether we hear from you or not, we just hope you're all right. We remember all of you. And once in a while, hey, drop a line in the comments if you can. You don't have to, but if you feel like it, just so we'll know you're okay. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us tonight. Now, hey, look, have a marvelous Sunday and a remainder of your weekend, whatever you're doing. And cannot wait to see you again next week. Keep on trekking and keep on clobbering, everybody. Good night.
those nerds! 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 What? It's clobbering time!
Clobberonimo! I just love clobbering time.